What's up, gamers? How y'all doing? Photographic chemicals, goddamn. I feel like China, the US, Germany, they're safe guesses, although China is number 5. I'm gonna guess Germany. Okay, that's not any better. Okay, surely the US is up there. I'm gonna... Oh, man. God, Spain. Sometimes the chemical shit is Spain. Okay. US is number 3. Could be like Spain or Italy. Oh, no. Oh, the horrible guys. Oh, no. Dude, it could be like South Korea. It could be Switzerland. It could be Japan. I'm gonna guess Japan. Just because I haven't. I guess China. It's an Asian country. My gut says Japan because I feel like I've seen cameras from Japan before and shit. So surely they got to make the chemicals there too. Oh hell yeah! Japan's number one. Okay, good. Okay. South Korea, yeah. Oh, Chinese Taipei, Taiwan. Okay, you know what? Not that bad. Not that bad. Okay, could have guessed South Korea instead of Spain, probably, but I don't think I ever would. I would not have guessed Taiwan ever. I don't think, but it is funny they call it Chinese Taipei. I mean, I think it's because it's I mean, it's the OEC. I think they rely just on the like what the World Trade Organization and shit calls them, and China kind of wants them to call it Chinese Taipei, obviously. Okay, 200 billion in exports, cars, a little bit of gold, like fucking garments. Oh man, I really don't know. And wires. I feel like it could be like some like smaller Southeast Asian country, but I don't know exactly what it would be. 200 billion is not a lot in exports. It's not like particularly specialized in anything. It's gotta be like not super low income because it has cars. Actually, it could be like fucking some like Northern African bullshit. Okay, I'm gonna guess. I feel like it's not Cambodia, but this is gonna tell me whether or not I'm on the wrong side of the world or not. Okay. Oh shit, I bet it's like I don't think it's gonna be Bosnia, but I bet it's pretty close, yeah. God, Georgia maybe? Does Georgia make cars? Fuck. Cyprus? What is southeast of or southwest of Georgia? I mean Turkey, I guess, kind of. God damn it. Right above Cyprus. Bulgaria, maybe? Oh, kill me. Bro, what? Is it like is it Armenia? Is that the country there? Oh my god, kill me. Turkey? Dude, what? Turkey only has 200 billion in exports? I would have thought Turkey would have like at least double that, bro. What the hell? Bruh. Okay, I guess. And I would have thought Turkey would have. Well, no, I guess most of the stuff makes sense for Turkey. Damn it. We're playing one game of this. Guys, hop on export, hold on. Would you like viewers? Let's make you popular. I gotta click the link, guys. Okay. Cocoa beans. Oh, cocoa beans. Morocco, question mark? Feel like they oh, it could be Argentina, maybe? I'm gonna guess Argentina. Oh my god, France, kill me. Argentina is 0. Centrifuges. Probably like Japan or Spain. Could be the UK. I'm gonna guess Japan. Okay, good. Penicillin and whatever the fuck that is. I'm gonna guess the UK. Austria, kill me. Nitrogen heterocyclic compounds. Oh, that's obviously Spain. We all know those are from Spain. Oh, the UK. Oh, dang. Should have known that one. Cucumbers. I have no clue. I don't even know where cucumbers grow. I feel like it's probably Argentina or one of the ones I already guessed. I don't really know. Bangladesh probably makes some. Spain. Oh, my bad, guy. Should have known that one. Drones. I would have guessed Russia. Maybe France, though. Yeah, Russia. Personal deodorant and antiperspirants or whatever. Probably Egypt or France. I'm gonna guess France. Oh, thank God. Wait, can I still win? I don't know if I can or not. Thermostats, dude, I don't know. I'm guessing Morocco. Oh, thank God. Dude, I don't know if I can win because I've tied every single fucking time. It's over, I think. Whatever. I don't even know. It's not gonna be Egypt, is it? I think I've just lost. Oh no. It was. Doesn't matter. You got it right too. Die. Okay. As stated in the title, I hate philosophy. Okay, I will game end myself before I do any actual reading about philosophy. What's up, Raj? Non-fun, I wanted to krill myself watching the latest Surrounded. Oh no. I don't even want to watch all of it, bro. I want to watch the section about the economy, and then I'm done with it, okay? Then I'm good. Then I'm leaving. Then we're through it. Then it's over, okay? And luckily, the thing about the economy is the first section. I don't know, maybe we'll watch more. We'll see. Oh, but welcome back, Rosh. Oh my God, kill me. Like I said, I don't want to do philosophy. Oh, wait, shit. I should probably turn on my banner again. I forgot I disabled that to record a clip or something. There we go. No, chat, it's not weirdly floating above me. In this article, Lord Keynes repeats myths about wage stagnation and productivity growth. Oh no, we will get to that. Before we do, briefly, because I don't want this to go unresponded to, but I don't want to put, I don't want to spend a super long time on this. I hate philosophy. Maybe we'll go on a more philosophical or whatever bullshit 10 years from now. Okay. I don't want to have this slander attached to me. So just after I think Ryan saw at least some of me talk to North or whatever, and he said some stuff where we're just gonna talk about it for a second.
I don't know if it was a debate or not about Non-Fawn's ethical system. If you saw my debate with Non-Fawn about the Shrimp Welfare Project.
I love that.
You know what I think of Non-Fawn's ethical system. Non-Fawn is a utilitarian, and he doesn't believe in rights, natural rights at least. So obviously we have completely different ethical systems. I think his is distinctly un-American and leaves him vulnerable to some really crazy ideas, one of which has actually captured him, which is that if you have money to donate to charity, you ought to donate to the Shrimp Welfare Project.
What a crazy idea.
Which prevents shrimps from suffering when they are killed. Doesn't stop them from being killed, it just prevents them from suffering when they...
Everyone, literally, to some extent I understand why it's unintuitive. Because, shrimp aren't cute and stuff. Hold on, Windows gaslights me, bro. I literally do not let applications change the volume of my microphone, but then guess what? Applications will change the volume of my microphone, guys. Okay. Horrible, stupid. Anyway. Literally, almost anyone will support humane slaughter programs for cows and pigs and sheep and everything. In fact, like one of the arguments against veganism a lot of times is, well, don't you know, like they stun the cows before they slit their throats and stuff or whatever. And it's like, you know, like all that stuff seems broadly intuitive to people, but then it's like when you just tell people, average user tech problem for real, when you just tell people, I honestly don't know what the problem is. I don't want to, don't worry about it. But I literally do not know what application does it, and it shouldn't be possible for any application to do it because I explicitly forbid within Windows it telling applications to change my shit. But regardless, also I'm peeking. But, like that's all broadly intuitive to people, but like as soon as you say, like, oh, there's a charity that does humane slaughter programs for shrimp, and you know it's obviously not legally mandated that you humanely slaughter shrimp, so this is just a charity that helps farmers do that. Like that's supposed to be a reductio now to utilitarianism, and you know obviously the Shrimp Welfare Project should be a lot less controversial than utilitarianism. You don't have to, you know, there's more modest premises associated with just donating to effective charities than it is with saying that the only thing that matters is utility, and you sort of ought be donating a lot of your money to the shrimp and effective charities. But regardless,
they are killed, as opposed to giving that money to something that would, you know, like feed the hungry, for example. He's a nice guy. He's a young guy. But I do think when I talked about Jonathan Haidt and his finding that when you send kids to school, especially our undergraduate university now, this is what I was talking about with Deb a while back, they're coming back with an unrecognizable ethical system and their moral values are compromised. And I should
compromised.
I agree with you. He's nice. He's young. I like him personally, but he's kind of a great example of what
I like Ryan too. Okay, personally.
Talking about, where you know you
almost
have to be pretty smart and have been educated in a certain way to have an ethical system that makes that little sense. And that is a problem, right? And one that I think we, you know, people who are interested in this channel, the sort of things we talk about, need to solve. And that's going to be something that we're going to be looking at. So, what's going on?
I don't know. See, he talks more about this later, and I guess I'll talk more about it then too. But I don't know. It seems a little silly to be like. It doesn't surprise me that like if you send kids to college, they might like. Also, what is Ryan talking about? LMAO. What do you mean exactly? Do you know, if you don't know the context, I can explain it. But I think it's like it wouldn't surprise me to find that like once kids go through college, they become like A, more left leaning, and like B, like maybe more utilitarian. Imagine running NTT in this guy. We Brandon Mize, I kind of have like or me and Bethan's Bulldog ran like a version on it of it basically, because his argument for like the Shrimp Welfare Project was like, you know, well, shrimp suffering just doesn't like matter at all. And you know, obviously we were like, okay, so like kind of what is true about human suffering that makes it matter that isn't true of the shrimp, like you know, doing a sort of toned down version of Name the Trait there, right? But I don't know if we ever got even a good answer to that, but you know, the answer is just that shrimp don't have natural rights, and we'll get to some more of that stuff in a second. But you know, I do think that it's like colleges are going to be to some extent woke, but like I think there's number one evidence that just the more people think about things and the more they like reason, the more they become utilitarian. So that could be part of the reason that people get more utilitarian intuitions after going through college or whatever. And also there's a good way to interpret this and a bad way to interpret this. There's evidence that just like people that have a particular type of like brain damage where they like their ability to sort of feel emotion is lessened, but their cognitive ability like isn't severely damaged, they become more utilitarian as well. You know, and if you thanks Shaka for the sub, I appreciate it. If you want to interpret that as people with brain damage become utilitarians, you can interpret it that way. But I think it's also, you know, I think both those things kind of give you reason to believe that, hey, like sort of a lot of the intuitions we have might be like natural rights, deontological, but the more you kind of think about these things, the more utilitarian you become. So it makes sense why, if you think about this stuff a lot in college, you might become more utilitarian. But also, I mean, like I was in our college ethics class, and you know, it was online, and it's every time I take a class like that one, I get closer to the signaling model that of education. Pretty sure no one took that class very seriously. Probably not increase my human capital, but there were a lot of people. There are a few people on the left of me through that class that did not agree with my utilitarianism either. Dude, I was literally, this wasn't even in the ethics class. This was just in my I have like a class that just like teaches you how to transfer universities. It's required if you're on the transfer course at my community college or whatever. It's some stupid shit. And like one of the assignments was just like award scholarships to people based on these applications or whatever. And like I did the stupid assignment or whatever, and like at the end I just put, hey, by the way, if I was really a philanthropist or whatever, I would never give people college scholarships. I would give it to the Malaria Foundation or Shrimp Welfare Project. And because you're required to reply to people, there was someone who I believe is to the left of me because of the arguments she made that was like, well, you got to consider that getting, an education is what leads to people getting like, better jobs and humanities degrees and like, I think she literally said justice warriors or whatever. And I was like, like that's someone to the left of me not agree with my utilitarianism. The same thing with the, ethics class. There are plenty of people who are like, well, don't you know that we all have, some intrinsic positive right to healthcare or whatever. But regardless. Ironically, I'm like in between egalitarian / utilitarian. We'll touch on some more of that in a second.
What's going to happen today? Oh, his utilitarian requires total knowledge of incalculable. Okay, just to give you my meta criticism, utilitarianism is a garbage philosophy. The only person, and it's not even really a person. You would have to be God to do utilitarianism, because here are the things you would have to know to make utilitarianism work. Utilitarianism posits that the thing you ought to do is the thing that creates the most utility, meaning the best outcomes. It's a consequentialist philosophy. But the problems with it are insurmountable. The first one is, what is utility? Nobody agrees.
This doesn't seem like any more of a problem for consequentialism broadly, than like deontology has or natural rights theory has with regards to, or natural law theory or whatever, with regards to like, well, there are plenty of people who all believe in like natural rights or whatever that disagree on what those rights are, and will disagree on what they are, disagree on where they come from, and disagree on how to like actually implement them, right? It's like, and you have some of the same things with utilitarians and consequentialists. Obviously, you have people who will disagree about what utility is, whether or not you're a hedonist, you think that only, actual positive and negative like quality as subjective experiences matter, whether or not you're some like objectivist theorist and you think that there are some things that are sort of objectively good for people regardless of that person's like individual preferences or experiences, right? And I have some defenses for my version, but like I don't think it's any more of a problem for utilitarianism than it is for any philosophy that has disagreement within it.
Is it happiness? Is it absence of pain? Is it human flourishing? Is it some other metric? So you have to
like you have negative utilitarians who think that we should only be focused on reducing suffering. You have people like me who think that both happiness and suffering matters. But again, you're going to have that in any philosophy. Actually, scratch that. I think my beliefs is more pragmatic approach to egalitarianism. Cringe. The problem with deontology is what is duty. Yeah, I mean, like obviously,
know what the correct unit is. Then you have to be able to measure that unit. Well, how do you do that? Like a great example would be, we're currently as a society debating trans rights in a number of issues, in a number of areas. How old do you have to be allowed to transition? Are you allowed access to women's spaces if you transition? This is a big question. Does increasing trans rights increase utility or decrease utility? I don't know. And I don't know how anyone could know that.
It increases utility, make everyone trans. So like, obviously, I don't think that, for one, I don't think like you have to have a exact calculation of utility to live your life as a utilitarian or to make prescriptions based on being utilitarian. The same way, you're never going to be able to know for certain living your life as someone who believes in natural law, like whether or not there are going to be cases where you're uncertain what type of rights violations your action might cause, right? Now maybe you say more certainty, but I think the solution to how do we measure these things or whatever? How do we live your life as a utilitarian? How do you make prescriptions or whatever? For one, having a good guess is better than just not guessing, right? There's a good post by Richard Chappell, he's a consequentialist. He makes some good posts or whatever. And it's like, I think he compares, he calls it ostrich thinking or whatever. It's like, especially popular form of ostrich thinking combines rational satisfaction, a crazy view that there's no reason to do more good. No, I think hold on, I should go up a little more. Kill me. But like, I think, oh yeah. Now, when people claim that EA quantifies things like cross-species suffering, and this is about effective altruism, not just consequentialism, but the same general thing applies here, that allegedly can't be precisely quantified, what they're effectively doing is refusing to consider that thing at all. Because the realistic alternative to EA-style quantitative analysis is vibes-based analysis, just blindly going with what's emotionally appealing at the gut level, and many things that are difficult to precisely quantify, like the suffering of non-cute animals, lack emotional appeal. They're completely neglected in a vibes-based analysis that is, in effect, give them precisely 0 weight. Now, to be fair, Ryan would say, like, you should, adhere to certain principles, adhere to certain natural law and rights and stuff. This is about charity. It's about, like, how you choose to donate to charity, basically. So it's not gonna, like, this specific thing doesn't generalize here, where the alternative is just vibe-based analysis, because he would say the alternative is natural law. Also, what's up, phones? I have the utility calculator for every possible action that a mind does based. Also, so true by saying trans rights are human rights. I'm turning the world trans. Based. But yeah, to address this objection, consider the datum less wrong. It's better to be slightly wrong than to be very wrong about moral rights and priorities. Something I find frustrating is that many people instead seem to endorse ostrich thinking. It's better to ignore a question than to answer it imperfectly. And I think you should obviously weight sort of, how good the evidence is for anything with regards to doing utility calculations. Like if you're, like, if the evidence for any particular action is just not very good, then you should say, like, oh, I only have like 30% confidence that this evidence, shows what it, or like what this evidence says is like true or whatever. And therefore, like, I'm going to weight sort of the expected value based on that. Like, you should, if you're certain of something, or like that, you're never going to be 100% certain, but like, you have very strong evidence to believe something. You have very strong evidence to believe that, pigs are more sentient than, worms or whatever. You should make decisions based on that. Now we're a lot less certain whether or not, like, shrimp are more sentient than, I'm trying to think of another example or whatever. But like, you can just factor that in when you make these calculations. Like, you can say, like, well, I'm 30% confident that shrimp are more sentient than a comparable species, so I'm going to weight sort of my actions based on that confidence level.
Because in order to...
What's up?
Why should I have a peaceful night with my favorite snack? I open non-fun stream. I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to watch Luke Beasley. And then I get the worst jump scare of my life. I see Ryan Millay talk about utilitarianism. It's like you planned to ruin my day. Very
Listen,
bad.
We're going to get through this in 10 minutes, okay? Surely.
Yeah, this low IQ monkey is going to say, oh, it's insurmountable, guys. Like, what even is utility? No one even thought of answering this question.
True.
No one ever thought about that. But you know what the best counter to almost all the objections to utilitarianism, except for the, like, oh, what about those hypothetical ones? The ones that the low IQ libertarian style people make, that it's like, oh my god, how do you even measure utility or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? The best counter is that utilitarianism is the position that you should maximize utility. But basically, any sane position says utility matters somewhat. So long as you grant that utility matters somewhat, right? Like, all else equal, if I could add some more utility to this scenario, would that be good? So long as you concede to that, then you like overcome all the objections that Ryan's going to say. So like, you overcome the what the fuck even is utility, right? Because you say that it's good in some instances, so you also have a notion of utility, right? And it's like, oh, how do you measure it? And then you'd have to know all the consequences. Well, you're saying that you would measure it and know all the consequences in that scenario. Of course, you don't say that because you're not retarded. You're just making a bad faith objection because you're very low IQ, right? But like, yeah, it's that like mere position of utility matters at least somewhat already overcomes like the worst low IQ positions. Same with the veganism, right? Like, oh, animal suffering is probably somewhat bad. Like just that is like overcomes like so much. It's so forceful. So like truly the only way to argue against utilitarianism is having like a more sophisticated position, which Ryan cannot have because again he has like the brain of like a caveman if he had lawyer speak. Like truly a detestable, like incomprehensible dumbass. I don't like him at all.
Dude, I really hope he debates Moxie.
good.
I think Moxie was trying to set something up, dude, because that'd be goated.
But Moxie's a troll. I mean, I don't know.
Moxie's a troll.
Yeah.
Evil.
Like Moxie trolls all the time. I don't like it. It's really upsetting. But you know, bro, I bought this good charger, and then it fucking breaks, or not breaks, but like it does this thing where you like plug it, and then it's like, oh, I'm charging up. No, I'm not. Ah, I am. No, oh no, I'm not. It's like so bad. It's so bad. But you know,
Wow.
Are you gonna watch Luke? Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least part of
I'll
it.
let
At least
you-
the economy part. I don't even know if I
I'll let you keep
don't know how much of the other
portion.
stuff I care about. We'll see.
Yeah. Did you see this resurfaced video of Adam Mockler saying the N-word?
No.
Yeah, because I made it up. But okay, I'm gonna
Yeah, that
go
makes
let you
sense.
watch.
Wow. Okay.
You believe
Based.
this voice?
Well, it wouldn't be that surprising, but based if it would be based if it was real. Okay.
Clip it and send to Mockler. Clip it and send to Adam. Never collab. Never collab. Okay.
Dang.
Okay. Yeah.
See ya. Yep. Adam does follow me on Twitter.
To know that, you have to define utility, and then you have to go out and determine whether it's increasing or decreasing. And there's really no way to do that. And most metrics of utility are about subjective internal outcomes. Like, I feel happier. Well, how much happier are you? Well, I could tell you, but you have no access to the inside of my mind. You can't actually measure it. So there's a few problems. The first is what I would call...
Obviously, no one, like... Again, I mean, as Sample pointed out, like, if you say utility matters at all, which Ryan, like, does, at least for humans, I don't think he says so for animals, but regardless, you know, you're obviously still subject to the same problem insofar as you want to make decisions based on utility that don't violate the sort of side constraints you have for rights or whatever. But also, like, I don't think we would ever say this in it like any other context. Like, if your definition of no is like literally be 100% certain, like, sure, you got me, buddy. But like, if I see someone, you know, their bone is like poking out through their leg, and I see them like crying and screaming, I think I can be about 95% confident that they are having a pretty negative experience right now. But you know,
like the definitional problem. You can, whatever utility is has to be defined. There's no way to define it. We don't know what it is. It's inherently subjective. The second problem is a measurement problem. Even if we define utility, we have no way of measuring it. The third problem is like a temporal problem. Even if we know what the meaning of utility is and we have some measurement system, when do you stop measuring? Like, let's say we do something today that creates a lot of utility tomorrow. But what if it creates in 500 years a death spiral event that ends all utility?
No one's thought of this. Or a bad idea? Don't look at all the utilitarians donating to long-termist charity. I don't like that. Maybe there are utilitarians that like disagree about, you know, what time span we should be looking at. But I mean, you should be considering the long term. You should be considering essentially, total utility. Until the end of time. Okay, till the end of sentient life. But it's just going to be, again, with like when you do actions, obviously, part of it is like. So as time goes on, you're going to be like less certain about what the effects are going to be, right? Like, I can be reasonably certain that me, I'm trying to think, running someone over with my car or whatever in the short term is going to cause a lot of pain and suffering. And like theoretically in the long term, maybe there's some like really good effect from it because I move the wind in such a way that it doesn't cause a storm and it actually saves 100 million lives. But like that's all so uncertain or whatever that like, you should probably not be thinking that way in your day-to-day life.
Is it a good thing that you did it today, even though in 500 years it creates a negative outcome? The problem is humans can't do that. We can't do that calculation. Then finally, if all of this weren't problematic enough, it's the hindsight problem. Utilitarianism is intrinsically backwards looking. So if I think that something
Non-Von Heenis viewers think he's smart and they have the same vote as
you would create utility, I do it, and then it turns out I'm wrong. That I shouldn't have done it. It was an ethical mistake. But
I don't even know. Like I don't like. I don't get. First of all, presumably the same thing could happen under any like natural rights or deontological theory. Like there would presumably be hypotheticals we can come up with where you would be uncertain as to sort of how many rights violations any given action is going to cause, and in hindsight you might know how many rights violation some action would have caused. But you know, like I to say like there are going to be cases in this philosophy where we make a decision that in hindsight was bad or whatever. For one, I think that's true of like almost any philosophy. For two, that doesn't, to me, that doesn't like seriously refute the principle that you should sort of try to maximize the expected value. Oh, what's up?
Oh, that's all. Another thing. You know, some people are like, you know, they realize how like ingenious and based my argument was, or like so long as you value utility somewhat, all these objections fall. Some people resort to, you know, utter cope, and they're like, no, I don't care at all about utility. I care about rights. And that even then they're doomed, because, you know, the David Friedman like hypothetical of the grandpa, like some people may not morally care about utility, but they like personally care about utility. And these people are not incoherent and retarded. Like a grandpa, you know, apportioning his will such that he wants to maximize the utility or the happiness of his grandchildren because he really cares and loves them. That's not an incoherent, insurmountable person. That's just a very normal,
it's incalculable gobbledygook. Doesn't make any sense. How does your grandfather even know?
It's like you know, you have Grandpa Ryan, and he's like, "Oh my God, I have this net worth that I can give my children, and I want them to be happy." What is that? I don't know what that is. Because, you know, some other people disagree on what that means. So I have, you know, some people disagree on what woman means, guys. I just don't know what a woman is, guys. I go outside, I'm like, yeah, I don't know what a woman is, because like some people disagree. That means there's nothing. that means it's insurmountable. If some people, if there's not complete consensus, then that's just kind of not solvable. I really hate that guy. He like really thinks he cooked when he said like, oh, what if I do something and in 5,000 years the world blows up? Yeah, he doesn't know what expected means. Like if I put a gun to his head and I told him like draw what an expected value looks like in math, he would not be able to. Like this guy is, and maybe you or some viewers don't, but you're like 21, right, or 20 or 21, right? 21?
No, I'm 20. But yeah.
20. Okay. Yeah, so you're 20. So you have an excuse. But this guy is like,
True.
What's his
I'm
age?
pretty sure he has. I thought he had a philosophy degree, by the way.
No, I mean they give philosophy degrees to anyone. That's not.
That's true. That's real.
This guy really, like, if I ask him explain what like expected utility is, and then explain to me how you are, like what my response will be given this question, he will not be able to. This guy's like one of the lowest IQ people. That is like somehow, but he talks as if he's smart. I hate that. Like I'm totally fine with people who are dumb and know they're dumb. I hate dumb people who think they're smart. Like I loathe them. You know, I'm like super antisocial about them. But you know, for this, we need epistocracy, guys. We need epistocracy.
True.
But yeah, I'll let you watch. I'm tired, boss.
Utilitarianism is intrinsically backwards looking. So if I think that something would create utility, I do it, and then it turns out I'm wrong, then I shouldn't have done it. It was an ethical mistake. But when humans make ethical decisions, we
obviously no. I get like you should evaluate the positionist. You should do what has the highest expected value. So like if there was a situation where like your choices are between like a 50% chance of saving 1 million people versus a 100% chance of saving one person. And you should obviously take the 50% chance of saving 1 million people, right? Like the expected value to that is saving 500,000 people. Now, if it turns out like, you know, the 50% chance of them dying happens or whatever, like I wouldn't say like you made a ethical mistake or whatever, because based on the information you had at the time, the expected value of saving the expected value of the 50% chance of saving 1 million people was like way higher. Like you should do like you have to it's ex ante, right? Like you should look at it with the information you had at the time. And again, it seems like there would be cases where you would be uncertain as to what rights violation any given action would cause, and you would have the same problem.
You don't have access to that kind of information. So on a number of levels, utilitarianism, and that's not even talking about like the utilitarian monster, all these problems. It's just a
Utilitarian monster.
It doesn't provide any actual ethical guidance other than what your common sense would have told you in the first place. But it can.
This maybe I don't understand what Ryan says here, by the way, but what?
So on a number of levels, utilitarianism, and that's not even talking about like the utilitarian monster, all these problems. It's just a nonsensical system. It doesn't provide any actual ethical guidance other than what.
What's up,
bro? You think we should like make people happier? Don't you know like people disagree? Either way, my ethical system is based on like universally agreed upon things like rights and God.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
what the fuck? I hate this guy. Like, I don't know. Do other people have this feeling of like utter rage at like how retarded this guy is, but like he's somehow allowed to speak as if he doesn't know he's dumb. Like he thinks he's cooking. Every sentence he says, he thinks he's like cooking. He thinks he's like, oh my god, I'm like Clarence Thomas. I'm like smart, guys. Like he thinks that, and that's
oh my god.
That's just like that cannot continue.
Oh look!
What's up, Ken?
What's up, guys? What's up, stream?
By the way,
See?
What do you want, Sam?
I'm just can't a brother join stream? Like, damn.
I don't know. Don't you have like tweets to be mad about that I liked?
Oh yeah, well honestly,
no, I'm fine. The last 2 weeks have just been me liking a tweet, and then like a day later, Sam quote tweets it. It's like this is the most retarded thing ever.
Man, it's just me. Infield Zane, he's just moving crazy, man. I didn't even know what to say.
He is low human capital. Look. Compared to you, he is low human capital. Compared to the heterodox people he dunks on, he's absolutely high value, like high human capital.
Let's get him on stream as well.
Well, I wish I could. The issue is that there's a couple MMT people, like the data scientist guy or whatever, the guy who looks like kind of Indian-y, with the beard. You just need to stop tweeting about it, bro. Like, please, like, let me tweet about it. Let Charsky tweet about it. Like, so Clint Ballinger and Stephen Hale, they're not too bad. I'd probably agree with them more, but and what's it called? Like Stephen Hale will drop some bad stuff, but he's like an economic methodologist, so I don't expect him to know an obscene amount about, like, I don't know, theory, I guess.
Right.
But Meadfield Zane, he's just, oh my god.
I don't know. Are you talking about Steve Hall or Stephen Hale?
I think Stephen Hale, I think his name is.
Yeah, because the Steve Hall person blocks me because he doesn't know what synthetic controls are. And I pointed it out to him.
Oh yeah, he blocked me too. Because I told him about the Shrimp Welfare Project.
That's the methodologist guy.
He's like an anthropologist, yeah.
And then Stephen Hale. It's just the thing is nobody.
I've been triggered. I've been triggered by the like decolonizing economics girl. Fuck that bitch. She's insane.
Carolina Alves.
Yeah. Fuck that bitch.
She's chill. She's got good papers. She's got good papers.
What good papers?
She's got good. Let me find.
Okay, wait. I gotta get through. We can do econ memes later. I gotta get.
Do you want to be C, Sam? Do you want to be C?
Sure thing. Let's. You want to be a bit controversial in VC in? Are you in Hamster server?
No.
Well,
you're not in Hamster server? Okay.
No.
Okay, we'll VC in there. There's a load of Austrians in there. Loads of them.
I can imagine. Oh, I think he told me, do you want to join like a server with Austrians or something? I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll join them. Like, I'll debate them. I'll destroy them any day. I'm just like bored, you know?
Yeah. There we go. Okay, let's go and VC in there. All right. Have fun, non-fun, with your bad stream. You know,
Wow.
that doesn't
Wow.
include me in sample text. Because everyone that's cool, come to Hamsters, come to the Hamsters VC.
Yeah, I'm
okay?
sure
We're
the
gonna
viewers are
have
very
fun,
interested in discussing.
free food, you know, free food and drinks. Okay,
The niche fucking Twitter drama, okay, between the fucking Minefield Zane guy or whoever, and all the heterodox people, and relearning economics or whoever.
Your common sense would have told you in the first place, but it can lead you very astray. And one great example of that is that, you know, non-fon, and like I said, I like non-fon, but non-fon argues that if you have $1 for charity, you should give it to help shrimp feel less pain instead of giving it to help people, because it helps.
So base. I don't. He says in one sentence we're missing something. He says utilitarianism doesn't give any prescriptions other than what your gut
It's a
says.
nonsensical system. It doesn't provide any actual ethical guidance other than, you know, what your common sense would have told you in the first place. But it can lead you very astray. And one great example of that is that, you know, non-fon.
But then it also leads to the prescription, which is highly unintuitive and apparently supposed to be taken as a reductio, that you should donate to shrimp instead of people.
Like,
okay.
But non-fon argues that if you have $1 for charity, you should give it to help shrimp feel less pain instead of giving it to help people.
So
because
base.
it helps more shrimp, and doesn't helping more shrimp
Has a higher expected value.
create more utility. Well, this is not a trivial problem. Non-fon is choosing to fund.
This way, it's obviously like it does help more shrimp in that it helps, like, you know, 1,400 shrimp, or well, more than that really, because there are other. That's how many shrimp are humanely slaughtered by any given dollar. But you know, there are other stuff they do that help other shrimp as well. So more overall are helped. But it's not simply that it's more shrimp. It's that it's enough shrimp such that the fact that shrimp suffering, you know, plausibly is like less than human suffering. They have the lower capacity to suffer. Basically, it's enough shrimp that it sort of outdoes that, right? And it's obviously a lot harder to help humans. It's a lot more expensive to help humans. It's a lot more expensive to put up malaria, and that's a lot more expensive to buy field medicine than it is to help a lot of shrimp. So those are obviously the things that play into it.
Raise and give his resources.
Not just that it's more shrimp
on the basis of this philosophy. So it actually creates bad outcomes, is what I would say. It actively contributes to things getting worse. It's not.
Bad outcome. If your argument is that like obviously utilitarians will disagree on like whether actions create good or bad outcomes, but like the position is you should do the thing that leads to the best outcomes, right? That has the highest expected value. So obviously, insofar as you say it would lead to bad outcomes, you're not actually following utilitarianism at that point. Now, if you're saying it would lead to bad outcomes because in Ryan's view, like the sort of outcome donating to a shrimp welfare project can be bad because the alternative is helping people, and he doesn't view shrimp as like moral subjects at all, then I guess that can be the case or whatever. But you're still deploying utilitarian logic there. Even you're just saying simply that because you're still saying like the welfare of humans is what matters there. Obviously, it's not a rights violation for you like not to donate to charity or whatever. But now you're just saying like, oh, I just don't think shrimp suffering, the welfare of shrimp matter.
It's not dumb. It's more of a check against your principle, partially ordered set. No one has a truly linear order. Outcomes ultimately matter, not just dominant importance. I mean, I think that he gets the. I think what he does is he reverses the principles. I think everyone is a consequentialist at the margins. Like we all ask whether or not.
What? How can you do that? It's not measurable at the margin. You want to know the latest surrounding video will lead to a bad outcome, MAGA brain damage, probably. Oh no.
Have a consequence. But what he does is he describes, if I remember correctly, he describes things like natural law, like liberty, pursuit of happiness, as heuristics rather than requirements.
True.
And that's a very, very dangerous game, because if you call those merely heuristics, then they're subservient to some other value. And what's the other value? Well, the other value is utility, but utility is completely undefined. So now they're subservient to something that you're making up as you go, which means that you have no limiting principles.
True.
Right? Like, because anyone can always come up with some way to say like, oh, well, wouldn't utility be better if I did this X, Y, and Z thing I just wanted to do? You end up with essentially no moral system.
That's true. I end up with no moral system. I don't.
Replicators. What's the other value? Well,
again, there are going to be people who disagree about which actions maximize utility, but it doesn't mean that, like, obviously not every argument is made equal. Like, just because people disagree doesn't mean that we can't, like, be very confident that certain actions are going to maximize utility and certain actions aren't going to maximize utility.
It's completely undefined. So now they're subservient to something that you're making up.
It's not completely undefined.
You have no limiting principles anymore, right? Like, because anyone can always come up.
Anyway, I think they
choose one, like it's a baseball team. No. It's necessary.
Takes a break and then we get back to it over here. Is an actual moron massacre? Listen, Ryan seems perfectly smart about like law and stuff, but I don't know. Just feels like I should read more. We learned Nonfon has no morals. He doesn't have Andrew Wilson tiers of his belief system. This is true. Tier definitions, yeah.
Would have led to a different outcome.
Can this?
But it would have led to a different outcome. This is back to.
Are you purely for maximize utility, or do you hold some intrinsic idea of personal liberty? I mean, I think that I'm purely for maximizing utility, baby. Yeah, I mean, I think personal liberty is instrumentally good because typically that leads to good outcomes, but the outcomes are the things that intrinsically matter.
Nonfon doesn't show his principles, though. He denied the premise. He puts his money where his mouth is. I mean, Nonfon is much better than a champagne socialist. Nonfon's much better than a socialist. I like Nonfon. I don't like Nonfon. I'm just pointing out that the system is it's one that's taught a lot, and a lot of college kids leave college with a utilitarianism / consequentialism ethical system, and it's a garbage ethical system. And they leave with it because it kind of fits into the spreadsheet mentality that we have today, where you want to reduce things to a number and add them up, and then see which number's bigger. But it's very flat and it's very empty as an ethical theory. So I'm not fond of it. Hey North, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, I'm going to look at a bunch of your content today. That's why I messaged you. So if you want to hop on, let me know. But I wanted to look. I don't want to look at the whole Nonfon debate because it's too long. But I wanted to look at that. I wanted to look at your. I heard you and Rob Noor had like a shouting contest. So I wanted to look at that too. Smart guy. I do think, man. Look, I'd be curious to see. I have not looked at it. I'm curious to see how you did.
Champagne socialist is such a goofy term. Listen, I mean, he said two true things. Okay, I'm a great guy and I'm better than a champagne socialist. All right, these are the only two. True things. So if we get more utility over putting chips in people's brains to monitor them 24/7, and okay, I go over this with North or whatever. All these reductios like fall into like the same thing where we say like, one, like take some norm that we recognize, like some actually in the real world utility maximizing law or norm that makes people's lives better off, and then two, let's imagine that breaking this norm would somehow lead, against all evidence historically, against it, like all hypothetical, or I don't want to say all, obviously that point of hypotheticals, it does maximize utility, but just like assume for the sake of the hypothetical that this action that breaks a actually utility maximizing norm for some crazy reason leads to a net increase in utility, and it's like, oh, but Nonfon, that's unintuitive. What? That Nonfon is unintuitive. That's crazy that our moral intuitions go against that. I mean, yeah, I think our moral intuitions, I think there are pretty good error theories for that, and that I think obviously the reason our moral intuition errs there is because in the real world, these norms of personal liberty, these laws and rights that we grant to each other or whatever, are utility maximizing. And like that's why it's unintuitive at first. But I think like the more you think about it, the more you reflect on it, the sort of less intuitive it becomes. So like if I were to tell you that you were going to be sort of a collective entity that was going to at one point experience sort of everyone's lives, you were going to experience like everything everyone experiences it all, and I gave you the choice between living as a collective entity in a world where you had these personal liberties but like less utility, or the world where you had more utility but less personal liberties or whatever, like you would choose the one where your life is better because you're going to live as everyone and experience more overall utility in the world where there's like less personal liberties, right? Like I think, there's that. So, and I think it's going to be relevant too because I think Ryan talked about it as well, but like it is like it seems like a lot of times rights are like reducible to utility. So like, if we imagine like an alien society, like just think of like if we went to fucking Mars, okay, there's some aliens on Mars, and for those aliens, like being looked at by another alien caused them some extreme amount of pain, right? Like it seems plausible that they would have written into their alien constitution, you have a right to not be looked at, right? Like it seems plausible, like a lot of the reasons that we came up with these rights or whatever, like wrote down these rights, granted these protections, is because they are utility maximizing things. And I think the fact that we could imagine an alternate society where there would be different utility maximizing norms is partly evidence of that. Occupy Mars, Ebon Dusk, real. What's up, Metro? Yeah, I remember North telling you that, but I missed the context to what you were replying to. I think I get it now. That's an interesting take. I'll have to process it. Base.
I'm a smart guy. I do think, in many ways, again, I like Nonfon. I'm not shitting on Nonfon, but like when I talk to someone like Nonfon, I do think he's center left. I do think his ethical system is very prevalent.
I am center left.
I guess what I see is I'm like, well, part of the reason why I can't.
What's up, like Alienius? Can you imagine Alien 2A photon blasts for all days?
Return to the left is that this ethical system is so prevalent there, and I fundamentally think it's wrong. So it's very hard for me to fit my ideas into an framework that is just totally contrary to mine. Yeah, don't worry about North. Don't worry about it. Like you have conversations with people. Sometimes they go well, sometimes they go badly. I didn't see I haven't seen them yet, so I'm curious. We'll take a little look. I can certainly do. And then, yeah, I hope I can be helpful in that. What are we doing? Well, legal issues.
Okay, I think I mentioned one more time. We're at like 20 minutes. What policies do you think increase TFR? Banning abortion is a good start. Total fertility rate, is that what that is? I don't know how much abortion increases their fertility rate. In the long run, at least. I would assume people would just have sex less often if they knew they're going to get abortions. I don't know, but... Oh, that might be the last time I mentioned. Okay, but yeah, that's the utilitarianism slop. Okay, that we're doing. All right. By the way, I do want to mention he pointed out the utility monster. Now, I have reasons for not seeing the utility monster as a reductio, which I'll talk about in a second. But I will say, let's say we run through the utility monster example. We basically say like there's some monster, whatever, that just derives like such an exponentially high amount of utility from eating someone or from doing some horrible thing to them that like I think the original example is like there's just some like utility maximizing being that just derives more utility, like exponentially more utility from every resource than a human does or whatever. And like in that case, we would have some obligation under utilitarianism to give all of our resources, devote our whole lives, sacrifice ourselves to the utility monster. And it's something that's unintuitive out, and I'll get into that. But like the implication that I would, or like the result I would draw from that is not that natural rights theory is true, that there is some personal liberty that we must value as well. The thing I would draw from that, if I accepted that as a reductio, would be, well, the distribution of utility matters at all. Like this is literally part of our Econoboy's argument, right? Retire in peace Econoboy, but like Econoboy like literally would say like, oh, like we have this utility monster hypothetical. Clearly the implication of this is that like the distribution of utility matters. Not only just the total amount of utility matter, but we should also be concerned whether or not utility is like equally distributed between people. And I think like that's what the utility monster example would lead me to if I accepted it as a reductio. Now I don't, because I think we have sort of very good error theories to explain why it's unintuitive, and I think that we have ways to make it more intuitive. So for one, I mean, it's just very hard. Like part of the reason it's unintuitive, it's just very hard for humans to imagine, super insane amounts of, utility, and it's a little bit easier for us to imagine a super large amount of suffering, a super large amount of negative utility, which is why if you sort of flip it to the negative utility monster and say like, oh, let's imagine like a being that just has like an unimaginable amount of suffering, and like every human that sacrifices itself to it will like exponentially decrease its suffering. In that case, it's quite okay, Rosh, for a lot of people it becomes more intuitive to say, in that case you should sacrifice yourself to the utility monster to make it suffer like exponentially less, right? Exponentially less than you suffer by sacrificing yourself to it, because it's sort of easier for us to imagine large amounts of suffering. But just generally humans are bad at like big numbers like that. Like if you like survey people, like people are willing to spend like roughly the same amount to save like 200,000 birds as like 2 million birds or 20 million birds, just because beyond a certain point humans are just bad at those numbers and our intuition kind of fails. So does that evidence of that, and I gave the collective entity argument earlier. I would have that same argument here or whatever, where it's like obviously we would imagine if you were the collective entity, like you would prefer to live as the utility monster and also everyone that is eaten by the utility monster. Because the sort of total amount of utility in that life would be higher. What am I supposed to be looking at, Rosh, for his inauguration photo? Let's only get to the socialist mindset of equity versus equality. I wonder if the utilitarian mindset would be for economics. economic amendment would be progressive taxation, make billionaires less wealthy, but a bit. Well, so by the way, I will say, and this is like one of the sort of reasons I consider myself center left as opposed to center right or something, or just a flat out centrist, is because I think sorry, you just said inauguration, so I just looked up inauguration. Oh my god, he literally did, I don't know, I guess did Trump copy him? Because this was before Trump was inaugurated. But I do think that like redistribution economically, like and sort of equality generally with regards to protecting voting rights and access to businesses or whatever, it like is instrumentally valuable, right? And I have no problem sort of obviously there are issues with incentives or whatever. I don't like a wealth tax, for example, because of the issues it creates with incentives and enforcement and things like that and everything. But what is redistribution done for growth? Metro, I agree. Like Metro, I'm saying I have those considerations, obviously, and I'm going to be a lot less in favor of redistribution than someone like Econoboy. Okay, obviously, but I have no sort of issue doing some types of taxation and redistributing that to people, and or the government enforcing some sort of minimum amount of equality for people, because I view the sort of instrumental gains from that as higher than in many cases the sort of whatever cost there is to personal liberty or whatever, right? I don't believe like a business owner has some intrinsic right, some natural right to discriminate against people for freedom of association. I don't believe that there is some intrinsic right to your income, right? Like that's your property, your income and everything. And so therefore it cannot be taxed, and it's theft if it's taxed or whatever. Which is why I'm in favor of some amount of redistribution. Now, obviously, I also don't think equality is intrinsically valuable. So I'm not going to hold the Econoboy position, or some like Vosh will hold this position as well, but he'll say like, oh, Vosh might be a little different. He might be, I think he's a utilitarian still, but like Vosh will say like, oh, the economy could overall like be worse off or whatever, but it'd be worth it to have workers in power. Or Econoboy would say to some extent, although Econoboy would argue this trade-off is not this big. Like we could have more equality and be a slightly less richer nation, and that'd be worth it or whatever. I might not take that position because I just care about total utility. I don't care intrinsically about how it's distributed. But Metro, I agree with you. My understanding is that they're like the only sort of redistribution that is probably like overall positive for growth is like maybe libertarians hearing this right now. Yeah, exactly right. It's like maybe like our early like childhood education and benefits and stuff like that. Beyond that, I don't know if most redistribution just like pays for itself or whatever. Oh, this is a good argument too. Like whenever like Ryan would just say the sort of suffering of insects doesn't matter or whatever, but like we all act like a utility monster whenever we kill an insect, or even whenever you eat meat. If you're not a vegan or whatever, like most humans treat insects as inanimate arguments. Whether treatment of insects is unjust is a separate question. Insects likely deserve some consideration, though obviously far less than a human. But we treat insects as callously as a utility monster would treat us on utilitarianism. Like I think a lot of people do that. Why not just have a flat minimum benefit and cut all taxes? What do you mean by cut all taxes? I don't know if I would probably have a flat benefit and like some type of, I think the DBSCFT would be like a flat tax. There might be like some progressive tax in that we do like a tax on economic rent. So it's going to be sort of on super profits or whatever of certain, natural resource extraction companies or whatever. Anyway, take a little detour back to the Republican conclusion. Let's suppose rather than a choice between billions of beings with great lives and vast numbers of people with mediocre lives, it's a choice between one being with a great life and a billion with mediocre lives. I've already argued that we should accept the Republican conclusion. But let's say we're not convinced and we think that it would be better to have one being with a great life than billions with mediocre lives. Let's say that we run this experiment 1 million times, at the end of which everyone has their memories erased. If you think that we should bring the one great life into existence rather than the billions that are barely worth living. Then if you run this experiment millions of times, you get something interesting. What you basically get is a utility monster. One being with a vast amount of pleasure rather than billions of pretty good lives. Lives as good as those are produced by going through a life that's barely worth living a million times. Thus, iterating the repugnant conclusion basically gets one to the utility monster. There's a tension between rejecting the RC and accepting the utility monster. I don't know whether Ryan rejects. What's up, Sounds Rama? I don't know whether he accepts or rejects the repugnant conclusion. I don't even know how much he would engage in that. Oh, sorry, last question. Oh, is it better? Sorry, is it better to tax undesirable things, or give incentives to start desirable? I mean, it's probably just going to depend on. I don't think one of those is sort of intrinsically better. And okay, it's probably just going to depend on the thing, and there's no reason in some cases why you can't do both. I will say I probably think it's easier to administer in most cases like a tax on something we know is clearly bad than it is to sort of subsidize and develop something that in many cases is going to be harder to know whether or not it's like clearly good or like truly the best way to solve the problem, right? Like it's probably hard, like it's easier to know carbon is bad and then do a tax on carbon than it is to know sort of the best way to innovatively fight climate change and do subsidies for that, right? But I mean, you can do both. There's a good Substack post about inequality. I think it's I don't know. Author gives some air theories for the utility monster stuff. And again, it's funny because like a lot of like these were the same things I would argue against Econoboy. And like if I accepted the utility monster as some insane reductio, I would like it would lead me towards egalitarianism. It would not lead me towards natural rights. Ordinary concern for inequality seems to evaporate when the better off and worse off populations are radically disconnected, say separated by 1,000 light years. If inequality were a basic and principal moral constraint, it's puzzling that spatial or causal distance should matter at all. By contrast, if egalitarian impulses evolved culturally or evolutionary as a rule of thumb for managing social relations, then it is no surprise that the intuition misfires in some extreme non-interactive cases. Therefore, the heuristic model predicts a scope slip, while the principled model must treat it as a counterexample. Like the scope slip, and this is where I get this term from that I use a lot of times, is the overfitting and fitting heuristic. So we recognize intuitively, people see that like inequality is often bad in the real world in our society, right, or whatever. You know, so then we kind of confuse that for morality itself. And now, obviously, Ryan would not say that inequality is intrinsically morally important, but I think the reason the utilitarian monster reductio is intuitive to a lot of people is not because of the natural rights stuff, it's because of the equality stuff. We just don't like when utility is that strongly unequal and concentrated. Because in equality, our brains might be assuming that since the person is very high utility, this might come at the expense of others and is therefore suboptimal, as it is common in the real world. However, there's only a statement about how we often see our world. It's not a statement about ethics, which we should arguably treat independently of our epistemic situation. Therefore, we should not rely on these principles in equality. I think this is, I mean, it's going over. It's hard for humans to like, because intuitively we experience like diminishing marginal returns in our real world. It's hard for us to really imagine being the utility monster. Okay, but yeah, regardless. Oh, and obviously, like this is another thing. Like in the real world, comparative happiness can be important in determining the utility of an individual. Like we do, you know, think of our own situation as relative to others. So it can negatively affect our utility when someone else gets a ton of utility. If you see that and interact with it and stuff. Anyway, okay. Well, we're done with philosophy, okay? No more philosophy ever again. It's over. Never again. Oh no. Wait, what is this? Oh, yeah, we will get to... I saw Richard Donadio wrote his neoliberals in post, and I saw Lord Keynes responded to it. We're going to read both of those. Do I care what Seth has to say? Oh no. Not a hint of good causal inference. Okay, I might not care what Seth has to say then. Rip, there goes the objective morality discussion. What do you mean? Oh, I would cut Medicare and Social Security on non-poor elderly, transfer half the savings to create a flat minimum benefit for general poor, and cut taxes for the rest. I mean, I would, yeah, wow, I don't know exactly how I would reform Social Security, but I do think the U.S. pays too much out in Social Security to rich pensioners, or to, to rich elderly couples and everything. So something's got to be done there, but I don't know what the best way to reform it would be. Okay. Anyway, new post from America's greatest neoliberal, of course, as Matt Brunegg is, as we all know. That's what Matt Iglesias said. And in this case, it's true, okay? Do pre-distribution people know how to read? Holy based. Holy based, okay. My fucking goat. Early this month, Virgilio Urbina Lazzardi had a piece in Jacobin magazine where he argued that so-called predistribution is a bigger factor in Europeans' lower level of inequality than redistribution. As I noted in my response, Lazzardi's argument was based on a study that excluded children, counted most of the welfare state as pre-tax income, and then assumed virtually all other public spending had no impact on inequality. In other words, it managed to prove that the welfare state does not drive down does not drive the low inequality outcomes by defining the welfare state out of existence. Jacobin would publish anything, bro, for real. I felt bad for Lazzardi falling prey to a badly written paper. Blanchett et al. 2022. I believe, like, this is like a meme paper people cite. I believe I've seen people cite this shit before. Hold on, I'm looking for the graphs because I feel like I'll recognize the graphs. They look vaguely familiar, but maybe not. Oh, I feel like I've definitely seen this shit. I've been there for myself, but on my piece, I also explain what researchers do to generate this offbeat conclusion in order to get help people avoid falling into this trap in the future. Towards a contrary conclusion, want us to either remove non-working people from the analysis or count certain welfare income as market income. And oh my god, I'm going to click that. In his response to my piece, there's already points to a new paper that he says show pre-distribution really is the biggest factor. For what it's worth, there are multiple other studies that come to a similar conclusion, including one published last month showing the inequality in Nordic countries economies explained by a great extent by their top-tier wage bargaining systems. I literally know what paper this is, then by the breadth and generosity of their taxes and transfers. I read this new paper, Mogstad et al. 2025, and found that it used the same trick I warned about in my first piece, specifically to authors. One, restricted the analysis to individuals between the ages of 18 and 64, which removed children, the elderly, i.e. the vast majority of non-workers. And two, counts employment-related social insurance transfers as market income rather than welfare income. There's no further elaboration, but this term is typically used to refer to unemployment, disability, old age, and leave benefits that use earnings-related benefit formulas. I believe there's Twitter discourse over that paper. Okay, kill me. I'm pretty sure, yeah, people were literally talking about that shit in my server. Anyway, not fun. I got a dip. I need sleep because I need to fix my sleep schedule. I'm assuming. Yeah. Well, thanks for stopping by, Rosh. I appreciate it. Nice to see you here. As always, of course. Hope to see you again soon, whenever I get around to fucking streaming next. I've been so bad about it, but regardless. No worries, though, as Mogstad finds comfort in the fact that this finding is consistent with previous studies that compare the inequality in disposable income and market income between countries. For example, blanket et al. That's always my go. Thank you, Rosh. It's one thing to get tricked by a badly done study. It's another to have just been told how the trick works and then cite another study that uses the same trick. At some point, Lizardi has to actually read what he's citing. Nope. The rest of Lizardi's piece, where he attempts to a partial defense at Blanchett, something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's also full of weird nonsense. For example, he begins the defense by saying, Brunig has two principal lines of attack on the Blanchett et al. Article. The first is that the authors use a definition of pre-tax income that is in net payroll taxes that fund certain social contributions, including public pensions, as well as unemployment, disability, and insurance. He repeatedly casts aspersions on their use of this definition. Aspersions. As if it were an accounting trick peculiar to them, when in fact, this is the way most states around the world measure pre-tax income. No shot, right? In the United States, as in Europe, income taxes are assessed net of payroll taxes, largely to avoid placing individuals in a higher tax bracket than is justified. Wait, is he just saying when we do taxes is how we measure it? That's not how people measure it in pay, regardless. Okay. Regarding A, the problem is not just that Blanchett counts social insurance contributions, which largely cause payroll taxes, as reducing pre-tax income rather than redistributive tax. It's that Blanchett also counts social insurance benefit as pre-tax income. This means that unemployment, disability, old age, and leave benefits are not counted as part of the redistributive welfare state. To put this in concrete terms, imagine a country with a huge amount of poverty and inequality owing to the fact that a large share of unemployed, elderly, and disabled people receive little to no income. Then that country creates unemployment, disability, and old age benefit schemes funded by taxes on labor. As a result of the new schemes, poverty and inequality plummet. Was this inequality reduction achieved by welfare state redistribution or by pre-tax redistribution? Based on normal understandings, clearly the former, yet Blanchett, Mogstad, and by endorsement, Lizardi use odd accounting specifications to say it's the latter. Regarding B, this is just factually false. Yeah, I would imagine. In the United States, at least, state and federal taxes are assessed on net of employer-side payroll, but not net of employee-side payroll taxes. Blanchett's decision is also clearly not a quirk of payroll tax administration. As I noted in my piece, in Denmark, which has no payroll tax, Blanchett actually takes some of Denmark's income tax and declares it to be social insurance contributions as part of his accounting exercise base. Hold on, that's incredible. Not counting employer-side payroll taxes as redistribution is also obviously indefensible. In Sweden, those taxes are 31.42% of gross pay, which is effectively a 23.9% flat tax on all labor incomes with no cap. In the United States, the same taxes are 7.65% of gross pay, which is effectively 7.1% tax on all labor income up to $176,000 of income. You would have made watch a full unskippable ad. Capitalism must go. This is true, dude. I put it on low. It's on low right now, bro. It's not even. Usually I have it the ads on like medium or whatever. But it's on low. I could just turn. I don't even think I make. Maybe I should just turn ads off for the live stream altogether. Because I don't even think I make that much from them on the live stream. It's probably not worth it. These freaks are torturing me. Real. Or you become. Wait, actually, I don't think. You know what sucks? I'm pretty sure, unless they changed it. Keep them on. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it or not. I don't know if YouTube membership removes ads. Hold on. Like Twitch subs removes ads, but I don't think YouTube does that, which is annoying. Because like that'd be a big incentive for people to join the membership. I don't have anything to offer to YouTube membership really. It's like it's not worth. There's not enough people in it to make it worth it at all to do like specific content for it or whatever. But you guys get cool emotes though, so become a member now, guys. I think you get a role in my Discord server. I think. I don't know if it works honestly, because no one's a fucking YouTube member. Okay, anyway, for labor income beyond $176,100, the tax falls to 1.5% of gross pay, which is effectively 1.43%. Baking these taxes into your pre-taxless market /redistribution baseline, as Blanket does, makes it so that inequality reduction is achieved by Sweden's much more aggressive tax approach is not counted as redistribution at all. Put differently, if the United States tripled the employer side payroll tax while eliminating the cap, so the higher tax applied to all income, blanket specification would score the resulting inequality reduction as pre-distribution. Contrary to Lazardi's theory, what I suspect is actually going on with Blinken's approach is that he's operating off the idea that social insurance, old age, disability, and unemployment benefits is non-redistributive because it involves workers paying for their own benefits or something to that effect. Please send help. These 12-year-olds keep bullying me in magic. I don't know. It sounds like you lost your edge. Don't know if I can help you there. Seems like Boomer is losing again. Unbelievable. I mean, you're a millennial, right? I don't think you're Gen Z, right? I think you're millennial. It's the same sort of folk logic that drives a lot of weird distinctions in the US between like Social Security, not welfare, and food stamps, welfare, and gives us classical political moments, like when that guy shouted that he wanted politicians to keep government hands off my Medicare base. Using Microsoft Edge and uBlock to get no YouTube ads. Oh, real? I mean, I personally have YouTube Premium, but you can. I will not be mad if you guys ad block my content. Okay, Non-Fun endorses it because I use it. Costa taking a Chrome pill is you have to watch YouTube ads. I mean, uBlock works fine for me. On like I said, I have YouTube Premium, so maybe it doesn't work on YouTube anymore. I know they've been trying to crack down on that. But like the ad blockers I think I have uBlock and I have like bypass paywall clean to get around paywalls for like news articles and stuff. Those both work pretty well for me. On Chrome. Yeah. Are YouTube ads utility maximizing? I mean, technically, some amount of them go to the Shrimp Welfare Project guys. So when you think about it, it is utility maximizing because I give some of it to the shrimp. So worth it, obviously. That's literally stealing, which is literally slavery, though. That's true. That's real. Get rid of your ad blockers and get hormone blockers. I'm around every hormone blocker known to man. I've actually been a female this whole time. I just take hormone blockers and HRT. Okay. Or actually, do you even take those at the same time? Don't you you do HRT once you're off hormone blockers, right? I don't know. I'm not actually trans. I don't actually know. I tend to get money directly to my YouTube creators. This is real. Experience point TTS in the chat, guys. And the link in the description below. Give money directly to me and Orders from Profit Project. Oh, YouTube took away my name? Dude, wait, I kind of noticed. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. It is referring to everyone just by their @ now and not formerly known as Patrol. Oh, yeah, what's up, Patrol? Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Because, like, it is weirdly just referring to everyone by their @ and not their username. I don't know why that is. I don't know why they would change that. That's weird. I don't know. I think that's just on YouTube's end though, because it does it in the chat as well. It's not just YouTube's annoying. Yeah, it's not just like it's not just the chat I'm using to display it on screen. It's like in the YouTube chat itself, at least on my end. Anyway, okay. Say what you want, be clear. Ultimately, I don't think Lazardi and even I diverge in our understanding of how to deal with inequality. When you look at the basic math involved in these questions, it's clear what you have to do. One, compress the wage scale through unionization and collective bargaining. Oh, it's so cringe. Unbelievable. Horrible. Dude, redistribute capital share, especially socially, as in Alaska, or through a higher labor share. Just do it to be safety. It's that easy. 3, provide income to non-workers via the welfare state. See, when I would have the AI make virtual streams for me, dude, I can't wait till I have AI editors. Okay, that's all I need. That's all I need, bro. AI can do my captions. AI can do podcasts. Like, AI can automatically switch cameras for podcasts and stuff. And AI can do audio editing decent. But I need an AI to just automatically identify. And there might be one that can do it. I just don't know. I need an AI that can automatically just identify the highlights to like put before a segment in the intro reel or whatever. and like just apply a template. Like there should maybe even be a program out there right now that is able to find clippable moments or whatever, because there are programs that do it to make YouTube shorts, but then just take those moments and just apply the template, the intro template I have to it, and then that'd make my life a bit easier. And one that does YouTube chapters better, because right now I have an annoying process where I have to upload the video, wait for YouTube to process the transcript, then I have to copy the transcript into a Google Doc, then I have to download it as a text file, then I have to upload it to ChatGPT, then I have to tell ChatGPT to add chapters, or then ChatGPT always fucks it up, so I have to tell it to fix it. Yeah, it's annoying. Okay, anyway. What often happens in this debate is that just some people have various ideological hangups that make them think that 1 and 2 are real hardcore anti-capitalism and 3 is not. And downstream of that, they go about trying to prove that 1 and 2 matter more than 3. But at least when it comes to overall inequality, this just isn't true. What is true is that 1, wage compression is the most important leveler for reducing inequality among workers. Evil, cringe. 2, the welfare state is the most important lever for reducing inequality among society as a whole, which includes non-workers. Oh, okay, well, sure. I agree. But I also just want to help. I care about society more than workers. That's actually one of the, like, quote unquote issues or whatever of like unions and wage compression. It's just like, well, I think if you, a lot of people who are poor or whatever just are non-workers. So like unions only directly help workers. They can indirectly help non-workers insofar as workers take care of non-workers. But like, why wouldn't I just want the government to give transfers to non-workers? If you really want to, you can generate the conclusion that wage compression is the most important way to reduce inequality among society as a whole by excluding non-workers and counting a bunch of tax and transfer system as if it's pre-distribution. But what's the point, really? You got to publish a sentence saying the welfare state is actually not the biggest driver of inequality reduction, but only because you dropped the footnote 20 pages in that explains that you essentially defined the welfare state out of existence. That's as silly as it's confusing. With all that said, if someone is dead set on making sure that the word pre-distribution has primacy over the word redistribution in these debates, that they are willing to grab huge chunks of the welfare state and move it to out of redistribution bucket into the pre-distribution bucket, then I guess that's fine too. In that case, I must of course agree that pre-distribution is the biggest driver of income inequality reduction, but asterisk, obviously, pre-distribution includes the welfare state. Real based. Like it, dude. That's funny. That he literally defines or like just pretends that Mark has a payroll tax or acts as if it does, even though it doesn't. Like, let's go. Incredible. Yeah, I've definitely seen this paper before. But regardless. Okay, a few more little econ memes, and then we'll look at Jubilee stuff, and then we'll do even more econ memes. This is just a Jason Furman thread. I haven't even read through it yet, but holy base, let's go. The thing that people never understand, okay, or progressives will, for some reason, always forget that like less than 1% of workers like work for federal minimum wage. So it don't actually matter that it hasn't risen in since 2009 or whatever. You got a take on the old grievance paper submitted by Lindsay and Bohezen back in the day. No, I don't exactly know what you're referring to. Grievance papers. Last legislative increases in minimum wage were bipartisan. In 1989, Bush and Democratic Congress. 1996, Clinton and a Republican Congress. 2007, President Bush and a Democratic Congress. Prices are up about 50% since the increase to $7.25. Is this just prices overall? Do you support abolishing the minimum wage? Technically, in my ideal society, I probably would not have a minimum wage. I don't know if, like, functionally it would be good to abolish it in the US. I don't think it's meaningful on the federal level, and I think there are way better tools for the federal government to use than the minimum wage. I don't think I would totally abolish the minimum wage everywhere, though. Maybe at the federal level, I don't really give a fuck either way, other than saying raising it to $15 an hour might be destructive if you did it over too short of a time. But the federal level, I don't really give a fuck either way. I just don't think it's the best tool to help people. It was increased to $7.25 an hour in 2009. As a result, the inflation-adjusted minimum wage is about the lowest it ever has been. So based productivity, yeah, I love the more perfect union graphs all the time about this stuff. The productivity-adjusted minimum wage is the lowest it ever has been. Only 1% of the workers nationwide are paid at or below that. LOL, man, as someone who loves papers, I recommend checking out at some point. Basically, a group of people submitting laughably ridiculous papers to journals, which were published and most consider seriously. You'll enjoy it. I think I might have heard about that then, but I've never like deep into it. I don't know. Some of the stuff seems like probably familiar, but like I'm sure there's a lot of people who have done this or whatever. Are any of these even published? None of these are published in Econ journals, though, right? Not that like Econ journals would be like 100% immune to this stuff or whatever, but it does seem like yeah, Journal of Gender Studies. Like it's not surprising to me that Journal of Gender Studies would publish a hoax paper. It'd be more surprising to me, much more surprising if a like top 10 Econ journal published like just a straight up like fake paper. What are some of the best ways to block affordable housing development? There's one going up near me and I need to stop it. Dude, it's not I don't think it's that hard, Cup, okay? I mean, you just gotta show up. Maybe hire your grandparents too to go show up to some local meetings and just yell. Get a petition signed too. Get like 5 boomers to yell at the town council and get like 100 people to sign a petition. Pretty sure you'd be able to block almost just about anything. You could like you can get stuff like classified as a some historical thing or whatever. I saw like another thread on Twitter or some shit that was like it was just like literally just some like wall, like some concrete wall that the local community was able to get classified as some historical thing to block like housing development. Like you can do that. You can try to get stuff classified as historical stuff. I bet you could do. You ever seen Parks and Rec? Remember when Leslie Knope like threw like Native American artifacts into a construction site because she knew if they found them, it'd be like an archaeological site and they couldn't build shit there anymore. You could try something like that. That might be a little iffy, but if all else fails. Reading some of the papers are stripping half, especially the dog park rape culture paper. That sounds awesome. That's a fucking Nicholas Decker paper right there. Let's go. Okay, well, last one. Your states have regularly set minimum wages above the federal government. Now, the majority of states have higher minimum wages than the federal government. Yeah, this is real. I remember, I have a graph somewhere about this. The Indian divide is probably the biggest disconnect between working class and wonk elites. Maybe. I don't know. Well, that wouldn't surprise me, I guess. I don't know how you quantify it, but plausible, certainly. Econ journals publish fake papers all the time. Just look under the macroeconomics section. This is true. This is real. Okay, well, the inflation adjusted minimum wage is nearly low as it ever has been. The average of the state and federal minimum wage is near the highest. You might want to look at productivity and adjust, in which case federal is well below historical values. Yeah, I think I've seen SDL post similar stuff or whatever. Obviously dumb to focus on the federal minimum wage when most people working for minimum wage are working for their state's minimum wage. Like, and that's still been going up. Federal and state. How the U.S. minimum wage compares to other countries in U.S. dollars. No, Massachusetts $15 an hour, which is about in the middle of states that have set higher minimum wage in federal government. Wow. Don't you know, guys, that all the European countries are actually capitalist utopias and don't have any minimum wages at all, and they actually it's super easy to open a business? Yeah, minimum wage compared to median wage. Euro pours for real. Might be above it's a good or bad thing, but either way, it's remarkable that after regular bipartisan increase in federal minimum wage has disappeared, state level ones have grown enormously. In DC 10, we discussed some of the theory and evidence of the effects of minimum wage on unemployment, and also talked about how the employment effect is not the only factor in evaluating the unit. Wow. Yeah, I've seen stuff on this, obviously, but I don't care to research the minimum wage that badly, bro. It's like, just seems not particularly consequential to me either way, unless there was some actual, like, realistic chance of the federal minimum wage changing anytime soon. But thank God we have our Lord and Savior, President Donald J. Trump, in office to prevent that from ever happening. Plan falls. You still want to post an increase because... Sorry, does not fall. You still want to post an increase because employers make workers pay other ways, like smaller health benefits, less flexible schedules, less on-the-job training. Employers make customers pay in the form of higher prices. Truth nuke. Many customers pay low income. Truth nuke. A libertarian perspective. We let people work for $0 an hour if they choose, i.e. volunteers. Yeah, wow. I love personal freedom so much. Yes, yay. Ooh. Non-fun, please react to this on stream. What the fuck even is this? I'm literally dead. I want to kill myself. Even better.
I'm saying that's true, but it's.
It would be more impressive had you just made.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna watch this. Yeah, I don't think. You know, even if I. Actually, you know what? It might be worse if I actually cared about some of the philosophy in it, okay? We literally got I hate philosophy in the title right now, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that the British people knew that.
Oh, yeah, yes.
I feel like I could copy strike too if I watched, if I actually like watched the whole thing or anything. You should transfer to Harvard and do research under Jason Furman. That might be a little bit ambitious. I don't know, maybe he'll really like the streams. Dude, it would be. Dude, I shouldn't even write a college essay. I should just be like, this is an epic non-fun debate. You guys should check this out. And then oh my God. Imagine Evan is Israeli? Oh no. Dude, Twitter removes the thing. It removes the epic graphs whenever you translate the poets, but it's just a funny tweet on the David Splinter Isaiah Zuckman controversy. Obviously, they're different estimates. It's funny how the debate, to follow this debate in two countries. Taken from a paper by David Splinter from October 2005 in gray. It's the famous chart Piketty, Isaiah Zuckman on the average tax rate by income quintile in its American version, and read the corrected version accounting for transfers, tax credits, and the neutralization of certain bizarre methodological choices. In fairness, there are some things that might be defensive if they do, like they can rate me on my beat on YouTube. I will gift you subs if do. I don't believe you, but who knows? Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I don't trust this link at all. Like I know they count like health insurance premiums as taxes, and like that seems a little silly, but like maybe there's an okay defense of that because in other countries health insurance premiums are taxes basically, because if you have single payer healthcare, that's what that is. And like there are some assumptions that, well, I think there's probably like maybe one assumption that they are right about, which is like the sort of unreported income or whatever, how equally unreported income is distributed. I think Austin and Splinter assume that like unreported income is pretty equally distributed. Piketty, Sias, Zuckman don't. And it seems plausible that Sias and Zuckman are right about that one. But I don't, David, Austin and Splinter do have their own papers where they defend that assumption or whatever. Incredible. Nice one. Wow. Fell for it. Oh no. Whoa. Following these bizarre choices, one finds the fact that the more low-income households receive social benefits or tax credits, the more PSC method concludes that their tax rate is high. I translate: for low-income households, the PSC tax rates are overestimated because they include sales taxes in the numerator, but omit in the denominator the transfer income used to finance these purchases. They also do not take into account refundable tax credits. Obviously, it's not going to be in front yet. I think they even, part of the result of that, by the way, is that for some, for like the especially low income workers or whatever, I think they find that, I think it's in the Myth of American Inequality, like they actually pay more taxes than they have an income. And to fix that, they just exclude certain workers. Not counting transfers creates a big problem for Sias and Zuckman. How are people paying taxes when they earn less than they pay in taxes? Of course, in reality, they pay their taxes out of the transfer payments. But Sias and Zuckman are ignoring transfer payments. So in the case of people who earn no income, they would be forced to divide any sales excise or property taxes paid by zero earned income, which is mathematically meaningless. Even with small positive amounts of earned income, Sias and Zuckman computed tax rate would be unbelievably large. They solved this problem by excluding individuals who have earned less than $7,250. Exclusion is strictly arbitrary and actually removes more than 80% of the observations from the bottom quintile. They justify this, of course, a particular cutoff as being half the annual earnings of a full-time worker at minimum wage. That, of course, is not a justification for choosing the income level, but simply an arbitrary label. Like, yeah. It's silly. It's silly. It's silly. I might not actually have seen this exact paper yet. Because this is new, but obviously very similar. Same shit, different day, folks. Okay. Same old, same old. Okay, how fast will we get copy struck, folks? Pre-watch. I skimmed through the prompts, but I didn't really. I watched the intro, but that's about it. And I skimmed through the prompts, like I said. We might only watch the first two prompts. I don't care, dude. I don't care. Dude, I don't care. I don't care. Where's my mirror button? I should have a program that lets me mirror YouTube. Where'd it go? I need to mirror it so I don't get copy striked immediately. And I need to put the obnoxious overlay over it. Why is there no mirror button? Video filters. Can I mirror it here at least? Bro.
He was elected, she lost her doctor.
My mirror. I need my mirror. Kill me. YouTube mirror extension. MAGA supports re-migration, abolishment of gay rights, trans rights, and well, and fair guys. Not all MAGA, guys. Many of them, unfortunately, yeah, obviously, but guys, no, a lot of MAGA supports evil things. This is news. Okay, you know what? Surely, Jubilee shill. Surely they would never copy strike me. They would never do that. They don't do that. They would never. Why would they do that? Okay. I gotta, you know, if the YouTube stream goes down, I'll be streaming. Oh, what the hell? Oh, what the fuck? Why did the YouTube chat just not work for like a long ass time there? My wife works in a historic things registry, getting things in our historic things registry. Was a call when I put my building in a market. They will present a contract. The Treasury Department contacts me and gives me $200K to write a couple of years to sell it. I have no clue. I do like Alex though. Trib Alex is goated. Alex is my goat. Are there any up and coming industries besides AI? Nope. That video filter there is to confound AI. Hopefully. Although it works better if I mirror it too, but my mirror YouTube plugin just not working. Why is I hate philosophy in the title? Because I just reacted to some of the things that Ryan non-fun art, who is that? Non-fun arts nemesis? What? Oh, non-fun DC Pentubble came back from his stream vacation. Now he refuses to do debates on any platform. Yeah. I mean, he refused to debate me anyway, but yeah. Of course, yeah. Yeah, even it's like Twitter's privated and stuff. Which Ryan Malay, I just wanted to respond to some of the things Ryan Malay said in response to the sort of utilitarianism debate stuff I had with North a little bit, like a few days ago or whatever. And I don't want to spend that much time on philosophy because I hate philosophy. I want to do my econ stuff. So that's why it's in the title.
My first claim is MAGAnomics is terrible for the economy.
I think I've only, by the way, seen Luke Beasley debate like once on Tim Pool. He did a decent job. I have some faith in him. I have faith. Not that old. I mean, the MAGAs are going to be fucking retarded, but Ryan, they're retarded.
Luke, you look very swanky.
Oh, they're so chill.
Very nice to meet you.
Because they're all boomers.
Let's just start here, okay? Because you would agree Trump's...
Are you meaning to show YouTube chat to Twitch? Yeah, technically, Dylan, I know people have kind of gotten in trouble for that in the past, but it should be, I think it's, they don't seem to mind for the most part.
Landmark economic policy is tariff. That's like his biggest thing.
True.
Well, let's start with the big picture. Trump has
Tariffs.
the right vision.
We'll get there. Let's just get clear. Who pays the tariff?
Okay, first of all, I'm a businessman. I do growth stuff.
Oh my God. Let's see. How long will it take him to answer?
Whole work around the world. I got hundreds of clients. I've been 30 years of building businesses.
Beautiful.
I can tell you firsthand the reason why many of my American companies can't get into foreign markets is because of tariff barriers.
Just because Trump always seems confused about this, who is it that pays a tariff?
Well, the importer does.
The importer.
Right.
So
Okay, we know that much. Okay, maybe it's a businessman. Obviously, you know, I'm sure there are absolutely some cases of like, oh, you know, U.S. companies can't really compete in export markets because of some, you know, trade restrictions that other countries put on us. But like on average, if we just look at the, you know, tariffs that were on us before Trump did all his Liberation Day, you know, a bunch of tariff trade war bullshit, they were pretty low, especially if our biggest trading partners like Japan had like a 1.64% average effective tariff rate on us or something. Same thing with like the EU, right? There were some countries like India that had like slightly like higher ones, like close to like 15% or 18% or something. But a lot of that is also like you know, trade in agricultural goods, which we probably don't care about as much. And like agriculture there's never been free trade in agriculture on either side. We don't engage in free trade in agriculture either, even before Trump. Like we do a bunch of subsidies that we would deem unfair if, you know, China did them to us or India did them to us, like, obviously.
So every time Trump says foreign countries,
By the way, I tweeted this a little bit ago. I absolutely, like, if China did to Argentina what we're doing to Argentina, I think we'd fucking call it trade manipulation. I think we'd say it's currency manipulation. We got to retaliate in China for this shit. Like, it's, maybe that's not true. I don't know. But it seems like that's true.
are the ones
Feels
who pay
like
the
that's
tariff.
true.
It's not U.S. companies. He's lying.
That's true.
He's lying. Okay, good. It's weird for his whole economic policy to be based on a lie, but
well,
okay,
well, what does it do? So the tariff barriers create fair access. So it's all about fairdom. Americans, look around the country, look around the room. You got some of the most talented people you will ever know in the world. We can give us a chance to compete.
What?
Good. It's weird for his whole.
I literally did not
economic
understand what he
policy
said.
Based on a lie, but
well,
okay,
well, what does it do? So the tariff barriers create fair access. So it's all about fairdom. Americans, look around the room. You got some of the most talented people you will ever know in
Talented. Okay.
the world. We can give us a chance to compete. Level playing field. We will do the work. We will bring in the international business. Many of our jobs, with globalization, which I live, many of our jobs have gone international because of unfair tariff practices. Even when we had
true. Source, please. I don't even know. Fairdom, yeah, I know. Guys, I'm tired, boss. I'm tired, boss. For one, it just doesn't seem like that many jobs were lost to trade overall to begin with, especially like on net trade, you know, great jobs. Like we would imagine trade probably helps our export industry, even if like import penetration loses some jobs in some sectors, you know, that's reallocated to other sectors that are higher productivity, right? We specialize in doing services that are higher productivity, higher paying. So like the average wage rate in our country goes up, and also consumers, you know, now spend less money on whatever good they're importing. You know, the reason they're importing it is because it's some combination of cheaper and better quality than the alternative American good. And if they spend less money on, you know, Chinese socks as opposed to American made socks, now what they, you know, they have extra money to spend in other sectors in the American economy as well, right? So like, you know, just on net, Mr. Fado feels so good. You know, just on net, there's every reason to believe it creates jobs. You can look at studies that show how many studies do you need to cite to believe that tariffs, you know, tariffs lose net jobs and trade creates net jobs. God, there's one thing I was going to pull up. I forgot what it was by now. Oh, it's the Krugman, what should trade negotiators negotiate about? The unfair trade thing is not even really, so I don't think many jobs were lost due to trade to begin with, but it doesn't even, the unfair trade thing, it's kind, I think it's wrong to assume that like it's a net benefit to impose tariffs, even if there is some level of unfair trade going on. This is what Krugman says, is like a old paper too, but it still applies today, funnily enough. International trade is really just a production technique, a way to produce importables indirectly by producing exportables, then exchanging them. There will be gains to be had from this technique so long as the world relative prices differ from domestic opportunity cost, regardless of the source of that difference. That is, it does not matter from the point of view of national gains from trade whether other countries have different relative prices because they have different resources, different technologies, different tastes, different labor laws, or different environmental standards. All that matters is that they be different. Then we can gain from trading with them. Suppose your country has been cheerfully exporting airplanes and importing clothing in return, believing that the competitive advantage of your trading partners in clothing is fairly earned through exceptional productive efficiency. Then one day, an investigative journalist, in hot pursuit of Kathy Lee Gifford, reveals that clothing is actually produced in a 60-cent an hour sweatshops that foul the local air and water. You may be outraged, but the beneficial trade you thought you had yesterday has not become any less economically beneficial to your country now that you know that it is based on these objectionable practices. So, you know, there's that. And he's not going to, these people are not going to be able to point to like any actual super specific stuff that's like unfair trading practices or whatever. I don't think they so rarely ever get specific on it. And it doesn't even seem like Trump certainly does not seem to be like super hardcore committed to like achieving fair trade. Every single quote unquote deal he's gotten, which are really like non-binding phase 1 agreements that are 5 pages long and are, you know, don't actually represent any real commitments, and are a subject of being torn apart at any time. If Trump gets really upset about an ad that he sees about Ronald Reagan and tariffs, you know, he might just tear up the trade deal and impose a bunch of tariffs on Canada, right? Like But you know, like every single one of these quote unquote deals leaves up tariffs on our side. There have been some where he's like he gets down the tariffs, you know, put up on our exports, but he still leaves tariffs up on our side, so our consumers pay taxes on imports. Like it is just a fundamentally like mercantilist philosophy that he has. That's why he complains about trade deficits all the time. You know, he's not aiming for fair trade. He's aiming for mercantilism.
Property in China, we had to hire a non-tariff barrier. We had to hire a Chinese spy to be in our telecom company, still in our secrets.
Okay, which is that's like a, we got to go more. When you look at the impact, we've seen job growth slowing, we've seen GDP growth slowing,
GDP increased 3.8% during the second quarter, nearly identical to the same period in 2024. Wow. Average monthly job gains have slowed, but the unemployment rate, the total number of unemployed people hasn't really changed. Wow, incredible. Yes. Thank you, Jubilee. Fact check. We're not going to mention that GDP in the first quarter contracted. So I think it is still below trend. Although obviously it did experience a sort of regression to the mean or whatever. After that, I thought there should be like a CBO like trend line you can check or whatever. So far, Asian importers are absolutely absorbing tariffs. Though they haven't been raising prices. What do you if they don't change prices? That means consumers are paying. If they were absorbing it, they wouldn't just not be raising prices. They'd be lowering prices, right? They'd be lowering the pre-export price, but that just doesn't seem like that's happening. I should be able to find a graph on this. Maybe I can make one on Fred or whatever. But I think the CBO like has a baseline GDP they expect or whatever, and we're still like below that because of the reduction in quarter one GDP. Like obviously, if you have a month, like if the trend line is growing 2% every month, you know, or you know every quarter we'll say, and you have a contraction one month, it's not or quarter. It's not enough for the next quarter to be, you know, just 2% again, just at the trend before, because you're still below the trend at that point, right? No, they're selling to the U.S. market for max price. The U.S. market will bear, which is like a nickel less than I don't know. They're selling to the U.S. market for the max price the U.S. market will bear. That's what every seller does. But there's now a tariff applied to that when you import it, which is paid by an American company or an American consumer.
employment ticking up, employment getting worse. That's all an impact of him.
If tariffs were going up, everyone would be pinching a fit about Amazon increasing their prices. Obviously, there have been goods on Amazon which have increased prices because of the tariffs. Now, there are exemptions for many things, and like the actual effective tariff rate is lower than a lot of the announced tariffs that Trump had. But it's undeniable. Like we can look at actually Micah wrote about it today. I don't know if he just cites the same thing. I think he just cites one of the same things I've seen, but he might cite something else as well. I think it's undeniable that if you just look at the trend line for goods prices, primarily because of tariffs, it's pretty radically diverged from that. Like this is from the tax foundation. I think this is from the Calveo person or whatever. Like this is tracking online prices, I believe. I believe like this is literally from scraping prices online. And you can see imported goods and even domestic goods that are affected by tariffs are like well above the trend line. Since it looks like January was kind of when it diverged, or even like April here, like April 2nd.
He's also tariffing, just quickly, Brazil, which we have a trade
Truth.
surplus with, so it's not the trade barrier reason.
Truth. And not only that, by the way, in the letter he sent to Brazil, he said they had a trade deficit. He didn't even know. Or maybe he did know, he just didn't care. Like it's totally incompetent. Who'd you vote for in Argentina's elections? I have no clue.
In countries where it doesn't make coherent sense because he's upset about this thing or that thing, but then we're the ones paying the consequences.
Let's be clear.
That's incoherent.
Let's be clear about impact. In the second quarter, which we just finished, in the second quarter, GDP was at 3%, which is a normal range for us. Core inflation at 2.1 to 2.4%, which is normal for us. Unemployment down at 4%.
You agree that we saw 48 consecutive months of job growth under Biden?
Metro, I said I don't know. I have no clue.
And then Trump came in and we lost jobs for the first time in June, I think it was.
True. But I think this is that it's going to be intuitive to the average person or whatever, but like technically like it's obviously not good causal inference. Like Now, I think rhetorically, what Luke Beasley here is doing a lot is more rhetorically effective than me saying, well, actually, if you read Lydia Cox 2023, when Trump imposed steel tariffs, although it protected maybe 1,000 steel jobs, it actually led to about 80,000 job losses in downstream industries. So it was a net job loss. And actually, if you look at a 2009 study about when Obama imposed tariffs on Chinese tire in 2009, you saw a very similar thing. Where, but like, you know, obviously the good causal inference studies we have all show that tariffs lead to net job losses. You can look at a study the IMF did of 151 countries over 50 years, and you know they find that tariffs lead to a decrease in productivity, a decrease in employment, a decrease in total output, and have like a modest effect on trade deficits. They don't even particularly address the trade deficits that well.
4% unemployment, which is a
Well, he was handed 4% unemployment. You can't give him credit for that. That's what Biden gave him.
Okay.
Agreed.
Obviously, like unemployment, it's been like relatively stable, but it has increased slightly. I think it's at 4.3 or whatever. When it was at like pretty close to 4% under Biden. Like it's what was January? January 4, and then it went to 4.1, 4.2, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3. But it's been like overall relatively stable. And I mean, you know, again, not always is going to be due to the tariffs. Private sector is going to just have a lot to do with it generally. There's like general churn of the private sector. The monetary policy is going to play a big role too. Even fiscal policy set more by Congress and the president are going to do this stuff. But just have a lot of good evidence that tariffs are really bad, generally speaking. So
Biden's economy was good?
Not agreed. In Biden's economy, inflation went up. There were some years 9%.
So we handled it better than our
Okay.
G7 counterparts. That was kind of a pandemic thing.
We have $6 trillion of new foreign direct investment coming in.
Right.
We have a
No,
focus
no.
on AI.
which, by the way, if you care about the trade deficit, I have some wonderful news to break to you about what offsets the trade deficit. It's a capital account surplus, baby. It's foreign investment.
We have a focus on energy. Trump has a right vision for Americans, people like you.
So
You work.
let's talk again about his argument, right? Is that we're going to bring in a bunch of domestic manufacturers, which will be more expensive. Otherwise, we would have been manufacturing here already. We sent them elsewhere because it was cheaper.
True.
And so he's saying we'll bring factories back.
You're
But
saying you said our job?
Kind of. I mean, also automation and just general structural changes, which is why we see even in economies with trade surpluses, the manufacturing share of employment declines over time.
You're saying you send our jobs elsewhere.
But if
It's not the manufacturing that's important. They used to have 20,000
Do you
manufacturing
think
companies around
businesses,
Chicago alone.
when it-
Many of
okay,
them
okay.
left, never to return, which are jobs for people like the people in the room and people
Right.
that
And
support
the
you.
solution
That is
Wait, the
not our law.
manufacturing isn't what's important. It's the jobs that's important. Why wouldn't I believe that trade increases net jobs? I could like there's at least a better argument to say the type of job like maybe, you know, trade does increase net jobs, but like the type of job matters. We should value manufacturing more for national security reasons and or for we want men to be manly men or whatever. But again, we have every indication to believe that trade increases net jobs and every indication to believe that trade did not even particularly did not harm manufacturing like majorly, even if, you know, China or whatever. Like even that China shock paper by Arthur, Arthur, what's the AD Dorn and Hansen? Yeah, like, you know, even they, although they, you know, probably overestimated, in my opinion, the sort of amount that China shock decreased manufacturing employment. Like they're not saying that holistically trade is bad and the U.S. needs to go back to, you know, back to a situation where we have a bunch of tariffs in China and the rest of the world as well. They just say like the China shock did have some negative effects on many rural communities. And, you know, I think their findings are questionable because of endogeneity and they don't account for exports properly. But regardless,
broad strokes, draconian tariffs, as shown by we're losing manufacturing. We're losing
tell me
manufacturing
why
jobs
we're
right
not.
now.
I can talk about companies I work for.
We'll do a fact check on screen.
I can talk about the company I work for. Oh, I love business owners so much. Oh, I love every single time, bro. I don't get it. I don't know what about business owners makes them like think, because, you know, I've talked to like 2 different people who like own businesses or whatever, and like think they, for some reason, I like have a better understanding of this stuff than me because they own a business, and they never do. Like, again, this isn't like necessarily great causal inference. Actually, you know what? Let me just go to my notion page on this. But, you know, historically, we've seen tariffs have not helped manufacturing jobs. We have evidence from that in Trump's first term. You know, I just kind of cited some of those things. And Luke is right. We are losing manufacturing jobs. This is just total manufacturing payrolls. You know, been going down. No real change in the trend here. It was going up until February 2023. It's been going down ever since. And then this is just the share of total employment. Also been going down. Doesn't seem like there's any big shift in the trend here as well. Job openings in manufacturing not increasing as well. Every business owner is a servant of mammon. This is real. No obvious change in the trend for real value added by manufacturing. This has still been an upward trend, by the way. If you look at just output in manufacturing and value added in manufacturing, those are still going up. Bro's doing the Destiny slurp noise. It's over. This is true. Destiny clone allegations are real.
Manufacturing in the back, they have more orders they can deliver.
Those are anecdotal, not broader.
Tell me why you're against fair trade for America.
Oh, I'm for that. Heck yeah. And if Trump wanted to negotiate,
then how do you get
Horrible. What's this fair trader we got going on here?
to it without doing tariffs?
if he wanted to use it as a threat, right? He goes to countries. He says, "You have these trade barriers. If you don't reduce them, I'm going to slap tariffs." That would be one thing. That's not what he did.
So you think anti-threats work?
But that's not what happened. He just
And again, every single one of the quote-unquote deals he's gotten leaves up trade barriers on our side. Like if you want to defend the deals he's gotten, like you force yourself into like literally just defending mercantilism. Like you're just a mercantilist. Like you just want as high trade barriers up on our side as possible while not having trade barriers up on our exports imposed by other countries.
tariffs on the whole world, including an island.
Which is obviously it's like, you should not view imports as intrinsically less valuable than exports. In fact, one could say even in some senses, exports are just the way that we pay for imports, and imports are the actual benefit from trade.
Ones on it, and then started trying to make deals, but it wasn't really working. So he just started, really hear this? Not very many. It was like 3 that were actual deals. And then he just started sending letters to countries with no concessions saying, hey, this is your tariff rate. So there was no concession. We still have to pay higher tariffs here. We don't get the benefits that he says we're going to get, but we get the downsides of paying higher prices.
We get them a chance to employment. The companies I work for get a chance
it's not working.
Okay, pause. You can vote it out.
My friend, Luke, nice to meet you.
Hi.
Hi, Luke. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Nice to meet
What's your
you.
name?
My name is Rosalind.
Rosalind.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So we're going to do this with everyone. We agree
Okay.
Trump lies when he says foreign countries pay the tariffs.
You know what's interesting about that?
I love him though, actually. So goated. So goated. This is a great first question to ask.
Is that if they weren't paying something, why were they so hard working trying to get out of it?
China.
Bro. Because when price increases, quantity demanded is going to decrease. It doesn't imply that they're paying it. It's like...
Japan. Mr. Japan is not paying the U.S. government in tariffs, correct?
Money is coming
who?
in. Money is coming in from multiple countries. First of all,
What are the Japanese... Are the Japanese... Are they giving us yen? Does the U.S. Treasury want Japanese yen? Do they want Chinese yuan? No, they want U.S. dollars. It's come from U.S. citizens and U.S. companies that have U.S. dollars. Or like multinational companies have U.S. dollars too. You can be headquartered in China and have like some distribution place in the U.S. or whatever. In which case, like it's a Chinese company still paying with U.S. dollars or whatever, and they're still hiring U.S. employees and everything. So it's gonna hurt the U.S. still.
you have UAE, Saudi Arabia, Japan,
In tariffs?
South Korea
In tariffs, yes or no?
that have all come to the table to give more than
Wait,
$1 trillion
we're talking about tariffs
each.
right now. Are these countries paying us in tariffs?
I do not
what Trump says.
agree that the tariffs were the best idea, but I'll go ahead and give you that, okay?
Sure.
But all of the deals that Trump himself has made with countries that are bringing in
Oh no. Foreign governments have announced trillions of dollars of investment in the U.S. during the Trump administration, including the $1.4 trillion from the first of all. Oh wait, hold on. Okay. Other investments aren't as clear cut. Japan announced $1 trillion in U.S. investments, but that's counting nearly $800 billion from. Okay. I hate Jubilee. Okay. Number one, I don't even think the UAE investments were due to tariff threats, right? I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they weren't, and I'm pretty sure the Trump family stands to benefit directly from that shit. But regardless of that, it is correct. A lot of these things are not clear cut or whatever. We love Jubilee. Actually, I'm gonna game it myself. Japan, I believe, said they couldn't commit to doing it, and Jubilee is right in saying this doesn't apply just for Japan. And this is this thing a lot of trade deals do in general is they sort of include stuff that would have happened otherwise. Obviously, like it's not really $600 billion or $1 trillion in new investment. It's like, oh, we're going to do $1 trillion of investment next year, and we did 800 billion last year, so it's really only 200 billion new investment, and who knows, some of that probably would have happened anyway. The EU, with their non-legally binding deal that they signed with Trump or whatever, like that's like 10 pages long. That as well, the EU said like, hey, this just represents commitments that we think we can get from private companies. This is not legally binding, and the EU does not actually have any way to enforce this. And also, foreign investment, like all else equal, which the issues with the all else equal thing, sure, but like it like increases the trade deficit. The trade deficit, the capital, or not more specifically the current account deficit, because trade deficit can just refer to a part of the current account deficit. It's offset by a capital account surplus. It's offset by the bonds and equities that other and foreign direct investment that other countries do into the U.S.
And over $1 trillion to give to the economy, where they're going to make money off of the American people. It's going to be great.
Okay, so major point. I hear it, but let me connect two thoughts. If Trump's so willing to lie to you, saying that foreign countries pay the tariff, which he repeats constantly, which is not true, then maybe he's lying to you about how many investments are happening. Like when they try to document it on their website, the last time I checked, they were able to document like 2.6 trillion and 1.3 trillion of that was from the Biden era in foreign investments in the United States. So if he's willing to lie about the policy he screams about, such a beautiful word, tariff, then he's probably willing to lie about about how many investments are happening.
Okay, first of all, these countries actually came here, made the investments, spoke to the media.
How do you know that?
This is
There's
not
no teeth to it.
During the Biden years, was Japanese investment trending upwards? Pretty steeply, no. I mean, it absolutely would not surprise me. I don't know. I don't know if there's like a Fred series on that or something, but
the ether. They showed up here in the United States, South Korea, Japan, all of these different people. Either they got there or they didn't, and they are going to invest trillions of dollars into our.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't know. I don't think there's stuff for Japanese investment into the U.S. I don't know where data would, or Japan FDI. Is this only? Does this continue too? Is this only for the into the U.S.?
Our economy, it's going to be good. But there will be more jobs in this economy than what we can probably.
Why are we losing jobs right now? Then
you want to know something? Oh, we were losing.
Wait, I'm so curious what she was about to say.
Trillions of dollars into our economy.
Why are we losing jobs right now? Then
like there are going to be more jobs in our economy, probably what, more than we can fill or whatever, because up until pretty recently we had more job openings than unemployed people, and unemployment has been pretty low over the past few years. It's been ticking like slightly up since like December or whatever, but like it was like under 4% for like some 20 consecutive months or something.
You want to know something? We were losing jobs under Biden.
We had historic job growth.
Don't look at any facts ever.
That is not
it's
true.
We didn't even lose many well, actually on net we might have, but like I don't even know if we lost manufacturing jobs under Biden, because some of the Chips and Science Act and stuff like did help manufacturing. Fred, manufacturing, payroll. There was like a sort of jump under Biden. Like this is obviously 2020. Biden came in 2021. We were at 12,000. This is so this is 12 million, right? Thousands of thousands. And then we when we fell back down to I don't know where we're at. January 2021, 12,145. In January 2025, 12,000. So on net, we still gained jobs. There was a decent increase, and then kind of sloped back down or whatever. But it did reach higher than its pre-COVID peak under Biden.
Well, thanks. First of all,
and Trump has not reversed that trend. So
why do we outperform every single country on the planet under Biden in our recovery from the pandemic? We saw better GDP growth, historic unemployment. And then Trump has claimed he brought in $17 trillion in investment to the United States. Okay. Our GDP is like 28 trillion. Does that make any sense? You think
true. He did claim that. It was very funny.
Believe the numbers that Trump said.
Numbers appear to inflate it based on official agreements and announcements. Regardless, those investments will likely take place over years, and in some cases, a decade or more.
But you're quoting to me.
Why? Listen, I'm pretty sure Jubilee overall is like a left-leaning, like they got like lefties running it. You can tell when you fill out the application for shit, they're fucking woke. But like, why are we being so charitable here? Like, why are we saying like the numbers appear to be inflated because it's actually including announcements for stuff that happens over the years? It's like, no, bro. Like Trump claimed, fucking half of our GDP would just come from foreign investments. He's insane. He's lying, and these are not even legally binding agreements most of the time.
Numbers that Biden said.
No.
So
If-
you want to
no,
know
that's not
something?
true.
If you don't
They
believe one, why do you believe the other?
Trump saying in front of a mic, 17 trillion is different than the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I'm not talking
True.
about his words. Trump's words. Nowhere in the government have they been able to substantiate 17 trillion. Zero. They've only been able to substantiate, as I said, like 2.6, 3 trillion, and a big chunk of that comes from the Biden era. Whereas the jobs numbers can be substantiated by independent sources and are the institutions we go to for those trackers, the unemployment, the GDP. All of those things are actually mathematically substantiated, whereas Trump's big, bold claims aren't.
Do you want to know
Pause.
something?
You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
It's a pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Luke,
Hello.
doing a good job over there, buddy. You're tough.
Thank you. Let's see what you got for me.
Let's go.
So you agree Trump's lying when he says foreign countries pay the tariff?
I don't say he's lying,
But he's wrong.
but I'm saying it's not the complete truth.
It's not true at all.
Because everybody is involved in who's paying tariffs. Ultimately, it's the companies doing business, but then ultimately it ends up with the consumer. So I have some good feelings
Wow.
about tariffs. I have some not
Wait,
so.
no. Who cares if it's the company? It's still American company. It's America. It's U.S. dollars going to the treasury from Americans and American companies.
Good feelings. But what I like about it is he's stirring up the pot. He's stirring up the conversation. And what I like about that is he's got the world talking.
Stirring.
Dude, oh my god. Dude, imagine like Trump goes to the UN and just takes like a fucking fat shit on the podium there. And this guy's like, well, I like that Trump is shaking things up. I like that he's starting some conversation. It's like, bro.
I don't want to stir if I have to pay
Oh,
more.
I do.
Stop
Oh,
stirring.
I do.
You want to pay more?
I want to stir it up.
You want to stir it up.
Absolutely.
You
So
want
I like
us
the
to lose
world.
jobs, which we have.
No, I
happened
don't like
last
jobs.
month.
I don't like
We lost
jobs.
jobs in June for the first time since the first time Trump was president.
I don't like
like
jobs.
losing jobs. And I agree with you. I don't
Okay,
like losing
and-
jobs.
well,
But
then
what I
why
like
would we
is
say it's fun to
we
stir it
have
up?
to get excited about what's possible. And the future for our country and what we're calling MAGAnomics, I'm excited because it's based in capitalism. It's based in
He
free
put shit in the
trade.
spot before
It's
he
based
started.
in
True.
getting the world.
It's not based in capitalism or free trade. Trump is fucking taking equity stakes in Intel and a bunch of mining companies. Trump like wants well, this isn't. I don't want to say like intrinsically anti-capitalist or whatever, but like certainly I don't think most probably intrinsically I would say it's defensible to say it's less capitalist to want a politically controlled Federal Reserve like Trump wants. I guess you could say the Federal Reserve itself is anti-capitalist if you really wanted to go that far, but that seems a little silly to me. He hasn't done much of this, but the price caps that he wanted to do on pharmaceuticals, the price caps that he on the campaign trail said that he was going to do on credit card interest rates, which he hasn't done yet. Maybe he'll do it eventually. Like those things aren't even capitalist. Tariffs obviously aren't free trade, like basically definitionally. And I don't think tariffs are particularly capitalist either.
World involved.
How
It's
is
based in
tariffs
bringing.
free trade? That's the opposite of free trade.
It's an attachment to trade, and people are going to negotiate the number.
It's
I
an
mean, you know the history
attachment.
of tariffs. It used to be this, and now it's that, and now it's becoming a new thing. But tariffs are just a
What
part
does
of
that mean?
Bro, what?
Tariffs are just a part of doing business. It's just
No,
that's all
it's a
it is.
trade. It's a trade barrier. It's a tax.
It can be a barrier, but you negotiate. If you don't negotiate in business,
Again, just so everyone knows here, in case you're next, I don't think.
Okay. Number one, oh my God, I wish I could just be in a position where I say, well, tariffs used to be just a little bit of this. Now they're like that. Like, bro, like, what are we, like, it's meaningless. It's meaningless. What are we doing? God, I wish I didn't have to use evidence for claims. But secondly, again, all the deal, like, you force yourself into defending mercantilism. All the deals are keeping tariffs up on our side.
Think you can never use tariffs for anything. There are certain critical
We're in
industries,
agreement.
but Trump is using them on everything, on
that's
all
one
of these
thing that
countries.
he has so
That's
many
it, I'm bringing Ronald
strategies.
Reagan back from the
Strategies.
dead.
You need
Base.
multiple strategies.
Have you met him?
AI. Look at AI. Look what he's
If you
doing.
wanna-
By the way, the reason AI is booming right now is because he has an exemption from tariffs for that. They're all exempt from the tariffs. They're all exempt. Computer industries are exempt for the most part. I'm sure there's some that still apply, whatever, but kill me.
He's made
like
the claim.
Semiconductor tariffs, that would be one thing. But instead, he's doing
Semiconductors is a good category. I'm glad we agree on that. A great negotiator doesn't limit himself. He takes as much as he can and he puts it here.
What again? A bunch of non-legally binding 5-page deals where like the biggest concession we get is like, oh, the UK is going to import more American beef now. Oh shit, we did it, guys. That was the big issue of America. Okay, let's go. We did it, folks. American hegemony solved. We did it. China trade war won.
Here,
those are
and
just
then
like
China
free-come
defeated.
uploading fun
Negotiations
words.
are real, bro.
It doesn't mean anything.
No, they're real.
He's not
If you
negotiating
don't
with most of the countries. He's sending letters with just, this is your tariff rate. And then we pay more for
tariffs is one thing. Let's move on to something else.
That's the main thing. Okay, well, let's go next to, I think demand-side economics, where you really invest in communities that need it and are going to be the quickest to spend that dollar, is a much more effective way to stimulate the economy, as opposed to like supply-side trickle-down economics.
Demand?
I just wish we'd avoid this. I just wish you would avoid this. I don't even think it's like complete, like if you like, I don't think it's even completely indefensible to say sort of more broadly that growth is demand driven. But like, I don't like he's not going to be like, well, actually in the capital Cambridge controversies, I really read through that and came out with the opinion that actually, growth really is endogenous and demand driven. Like, we're going to say trickle down economics doesn't work. We're going to do this mess. I can't believe you'd vote for vote for Millet and AOC. What an ideology. I don't think I did not say I would vote for Millet. I mean, there are hypotheticals where I would vote for AOC. I guess technically if it was Millet or Hitler, I would vote for Millet. But I don't know sort of what realistic hypothetical I would vote for Millet, because I don't know enough about Argentina at all.
I'm all for demand economics.
And Trump is doing the most trickle-down, insane redistribution of wealth from the bottom to the top with his big, beautiful bill.
No.
The largest cut to Medicaid ever, nearly $1 trillion over a decade.
We need to trim things. We need to tighten things.
Wait. He lowered
Look,
taxes.
I'm on Social Security, bro. You think I don't worry about this?
He lowered
I worry
tax
about
rates
this.
for the richest Americans.
I'm for that.
While he's taking money
they're
from the
ones-
poorest Americans?
Because the richest people are business owners, and they're who are creating jobs. Without jobs in America, Luke, you know this. Without a job, Luke, in America, without a job, you have nothing. You have no shot at anything.
Right.
It's the most important thing.
Which ripping away funds to critical programs hurts
This is a
people's community.
capitalist.
They now have less money. They have less ability.
We got to tighten up. We got to tighten up. We give too much out.
Let's just
too
focus.
much.
Let's focus.
Did you just shush me, Luke?
I did.
Come on,
I
that's
apologize.
disrespectful.
I apologize.
All right.
I agree. Let's focus. Can we talk about welfare instead of the cringe job shit?
Forgiven.
I apologize. But
shushing me. Get out of here.
But do you agree? Let's just focus.
Okay, I'm focused.
At the same time, he did one of the biggest giveaways to the wealthiest 1%. He's also, which is increasing our debt. He's also cutting Medicaid. So it's not about tightening up because he's increasing the debt with these taxes for the rich.
Medicaid.
And he's cutting Medicaid. That's not tightening up. It's expanding but for the rich.
I can talk about Medicaid. Medicaid has been taken advantage of.
You slapped my hand.
It's okay. Medicaid has been taken advantage of. People are getting.
Why is the solution to that like cutting it on the consumers beneficiary side, right? Like, why is the and like I don't even know if like all the shit was bad or whatever, because like there were reforms to Medicaid I would make certainly, but like I don't think the solution to Medicaid fraud, which is mostly on the provider side, it's just like add work requirements to Medicaid and like end some fucking subsidies. Probably kind of broader than that. It's probably like audits. I believe there's actually a paper that I saw looking at a Coast site, I think, on fucking Medicaid audits.
Medicaid, they don't deserve Medicaid, they don't qualify for Medicaid, it's not okay. So I like it. I like that he trimmed Medicaid.
$1 trillion over a decade is going to cut a bunch of people who do rely on it, who aren't scammers or fraudsters.
We need to get them healthy. We need to get them healthy. I focus on, let's get the population healthy. We got a bunch of sick people.
We're not going to do it by taking away their health care.
Well, there's at least mixed evidence on sort of Medicaid improving health outcomes. I think I've never done a super deep dive. The papers that I know are competing on that, but I've definitely have seen there are certainly some papers you can find that say Medicaid actually reduced mortality and stuff.
Let's put the money into fitness and health programs. I like that.
He's not doing that. He's giving it to rich people.
No, programs to get you healthy.
I know.
Not kill you after you're sick.
No.
This is the best you got, bro. Come on, Luke.
Hello. Gene, nice to meet you.
Okay, so about tariffs, it's actually very simple. All we have to do just look what happened before. In 1913, the only money coming into the United States was from tariffs.
What happened in 1913?
Yeah.
Bro, what was government spending as a percent of GDP in 1913? probably less than 10%, right?
Something bad happened, but not because of that.
And also,
the tariffs
like,
was bringing so much money.
They are bringing so much money. There's no reason, like, that doesn't mean tariffs are the most effective way. The fact that, like, we use tariffs historically to raise revenue, it does not follow that the tariffs are the most effective way to raise revenue. If we had a conception of what a VAT was back then, it probably would have been better to do a VAT back then. Like, that's a percentage of GDP 1913. Although wait, we were not in World War One before that, right? So we're still good. I don't think. Yeah, Fred does not go back that far. Yeah, approximately 8.1%. Google AI overview says. You know. But like, even if it like, so obviously, in the modern day, tariffs are not going to be able to raise as much revenue. But like, even if they could, even if they raised so much revenue or so epic, why would I not just want a VAT? Or like any type of more efficient tax? Why would I not want a tax on economic rents? That's less distortionary.
That we could was able to buy the land, we could borrow the money to other countries. Everything was fine. Then there was a creation of the financial system. Okay, now, well, but the history.
Bro,
history has the facts, right? We had.
God, I knew it was gonna happen too when he said 1913. Oh, I was like, we're gonna get the fucking Federal Reserve memes.
Economy running beautifully just on the tariffs with no income tax, no land tax, nothing else.
We didn't.
Why is it not going to work this time?
So we have a fundamentally different economy, and I think you have rose-colored glasses about that time, and we then went into the Great Depression not too long after that.
No.
But let's focus. But we have a fundamentally different economy. Unless you want us to get rid of Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid completely, then it's not going to make any sense for us to pretend like we can go back to
They created the financial system. Yeah, I know.
A fundamentally different tax structure.
Intelligent. He's read the fucking meme boomer Reddit post about the Fed. Okay. He's seen the graph about the value of the dollar. Why did wages stagnate post 1971? I don't think compensation has stagnated post 1971. I think if you look at, if you include non-wage benefits in that, if you don't use CPI, or CPI probably overestimates inflation, especially over the longer run. Like 1971 was before the Boston Commission in 1996 or whatever that found CPI was like overestimating inflation by like 1.1 percentage points a year or whatever. So I think if you use PCE, which is probably better, and if you include non-wage compensation, you don't really see that wages have stagnated. If you include, it's not wages, it's not market income, obviously, but if you include transfers, government transfers, you can see. I mean, obviously, you see, we've started paying out a lot more in government transfers to people, which kept income rising, even if market income has been stagnant for some people that are lower skill.
So I just because we were talking about before, we've done a lot of tariff talk, and I think I made my point on that. I would love to hear your stance, because I thought we were populists in this room, MAGA populism, but we're okay giving huge tax breaks to wealthy folks while you're ripping away healthcare from millions of Americans. Because that's an economic policy.
What is your fact that wealthy getting a tax break?
Oh, that was in Trump's big beautiful bill. Every single individual
absolutely
now
not.
It was
absolutely no,
Open
absolutely not. Okay,
yeah.
the fact is, the tariffs bring money right now in, and here's what he's proposing with the money we're gonna do. The people who's gonna make.
Are we not going to address the point about the distributional effects of the big beautiful bill? If it ain't, like, the tariffs only add to that, right? Because tariffs are regressive. So like Luke Beasley's like, oh, we talked enough about tariffs. Let's talk about the fact that a lot of these tax cuts are going to the wealthy, and now we're just saying, well, don't you know the tariffs though? And it's like, okay, well,
less than $150,000.
Bro, I swear on my camera, it's not. I don't know if I moved it or something. Where it's not like it usually is.
We'll get payback. People.
He's not going to give that to you. I promise.
You can't see the future.
I can.
Right?
I can.
No, you can't.
I really can.
Look at my eyes. You can't. It's a
you
delusion.
have a deep sadness in your eyes.
In my eyes.
No, so I mean, okay, maybe wait for him to give you some paycheck, but in the meantime, he's ripping away healthcare. In the meantime, he's taking away SNAP benefits. In the meantime, he's giving huge tax breaks to wealthy folks. That's just deranged.
We just had the biggest fraud uncovered in Social Security and Medicaid, and it happened.
Oh my god. Yeah, I remember when Doge lied about that too. Dude, I don't even remember what the fucking meme was. God, because the Doge just lied about how much fraud there was. And there's like already been an Inspector General report, or like talking about it or whatever. I think they lied about like how many old people were on Social Security and shit, or like they expected to be dead or whatever. Like I think they just counted the number of people over the age of 100 or something, and it's like, well, we automatically start giving payments after the age of 115 anyways, and also like it was like 2% of those people were actually collecting payments or whatever. It's just that like there aren't electronic death records everywhere, and like it would cost money. It would cost more money than we would save to go through the Social Security record and expunge all the people who are, you know, plausibly dead. So it's just not worth to do it. The economy was good under Obama. That thinks Obama it was so good under Obama that thinks Obama became a meme. This is true. This is real.
Administration.
Under Trump?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you? What do you mean?
So,
Okay.
so that's why a bunch of people have to lose their health. That's not. Just to be clear, my issue is that he's bloating the deficit in the debt, while he's giving tax breaks to the wealthiest Americans. If you look at independent analyses, you'll see the combined outcome of this bill, which is not a good economic policy. It's a part of his Maganomics thinking. The trickle down nonsense is that the poorest Americans lose wealth. Literally, that's the analysis, and the wealthiest Americans gain wealth.
Okay.
Okay, pause. We're out of time.
Okay. Yeah. Good to say.
My next claim is Trump is an authoritarian.
Do we want to do we want to do it, guys? Do we want to do it? Do we? I think we have Trump as a threat to democracy. There's like one claim I don't care about. Yeah, the Trump supporters are not patriotic. I don't really give a fuck about that one. Kamala Harris would have been better. Maybe we'll watch that one.
And that's
The regional left lost the elections because they don't understand the American people. I think this is a 1v1 or whatever. Culture war slop, exactly. You know, I mean, we got, you know, that was an okay performance from Luke, at least. I don't know if it could have gone, I don't know, much better in this in this context or whatever. Clearly, both parties are equally bad in all respects. This is true, obviously. Don't you know the Democrats, Hunter Biden, what else? Call into DDM about Malay. Is he streaming right now? He streams on fucking Twitter, doesn't he? I don't know if I have strong enough opinions to call in about it.
Yeah, I'm just going to go because I've got the data here on the Senate.
Is he even doing call-ins? It looks like this is a guy he knows or something. We'll watch at least some of this prompt. I don't know if we'll watch the whole thing. I don't know.
Hello.
Hello.
Luke.
Very nice.
Nice to meet you, Luke.
Well, why don't you say your
I
prompt?
thought you were boys with him. We DM'd each other once. Easy money. Well, I DM'd him. And he did follow me afterwards. So, basically best friends. This is true. Could have been more linear and forced, yes or no, on the we pay tariff thing. Yeah. And like, I think, I don't know, again, a lot of the issue is it's hard to make some of these things intuitive, and like in a fucking Jubilee episode where you only have 5 minutes for these debates, like it's hard to even get through everything. We didn't touch on the uncertainty at all. I kind of wish we had brought up the uncertainty of the tariffs, because that's obviously a pretty negative effect too, but all the stuff that torture people into answering, yeah. And it's not even, sometimes it's definitely rhetorically effective, but sometimes people will just get mad if they see you trying to hold people to flames on, one specific thing too much.
Again, and I really want you to think about your prompt.
Trump is an authoritarian threat to democracy. He doesn't respect elections. He doesn't respect the nonviolent principles of approaching our democratic process. Doesn't respect court rulings. Is degrading our democratic process in a lot of key ways.
Okay, so I want you to really think about what you're saying here.
Mm-hmm.
He's had 2 assassination attempts because of rhetoric that you're giving right now.
Well,
I disagree.
Charlie
true.
Kirk is dead because
I'm not going to address the point. I'm going to say that's actually the left's fault for pointing out Trump's authoritarian actions instead of addressing his authoritarian actions. Let's go.
of rhetoric that you are stating right now. Don't you think it's time to take down the rhetoric?
Yeah, I think absolutely, and I actually make an effort.
Meanwhile, Trump literally calling everyone radical, left, fascist, communist. Like, bro.
To lower the rhetoric, but me identifying someone's ideology and saying through peaceful means we should push back against someone's authoritarianism is exactly in line with peaceful principles. What happened to Charlie Kirk is an abandonment of all of the principles I hold dear. That was horrific. And so the way that we push back against authoritarianism, like for example, if we're saying political violence is wrong, and that's what I believe, and that's why I am horrified what happened to Charlie Kirk, then is it not anti-democratic, not in the interest of a peaceful approach to the democratic process for Trump to pardon January 6ers?
Well, no, because a lot
They
of
were
their,
violent.
not all.
So specifically think about people
Not
who
all.
assaulted.
I have a friend.
No, I don't want to hear about your friend.
But he pardoned all of them, though. He pardoned all of them, including the violent ones.
Talking about specifically.
And, even the quote-unquote non-violent ones were still, at a riot, trespassing into the fucking Capitol building.
violent offenders.
Well, I'm
Daniel Rodriguez stun-gunned an officer, he had a heart attack.
talk-
I'm asking, is it correct that there were people who assaulted police officers violently who got pardons, and are you okay with that?
Yes, because their due process was violated when people
It wasn't. They had
in
their
the
trial.
No, they
had their whole due process. Unlike the people that Trump is.
Again,
Because they were in D.C. Democrat Jerry. Let's go.
I just don't appreciate taking the void.
Let
I don't
me
feel
answer
like,
you.
Well, I actually believe that we should not be violent. It sounds like
I
you're
don't
okay
think
with
that-
some people who were
No,
violent,
I'm not.
which scares me. I think
believe
that's
in
not
the
lowering the
Constitution
temperature.
Two difference is winning men over Newsom by 17 points. Sounds like
have a
fuck.
right to
It doesn't surprise me, unfortunately.
quick and speedy trial. I believe when you weren't a non-violent offender, you shouldn't. Yes, we are. We're talking about it as a whole. No, you're just trying to talk over me to be right.
No, you brought up violence. You brought up violence specifically.
No. Okay, so Ashley Babbitt. Let me ask you. Ashley Babbitt is dead. Do you think?
Dude, I don't. How the fuck? Like, we got from Trump as like an authoritarian threat to democracy to Ashley Babbitt in like 30 seconds, dude.
5'1", 100-pound girl.
I would love to get Ashley Babbitt next and discuss that case. But
you're not letting me answer your question.
Because you're not even trying to answer my question.
Yes, I am. Every time I start, people were thrown in jail for 4 years without a trial. Brady material was withheld in.
He's doing what is probably the correct way. A response to Sawyer moralizing. I agree. Trotsky, right? Yeah.
Their trials.
It sounds like you aren't willing to acknowledge.
It sounds like you're not willing to acknowledge that people were
It would be an hours-long conversation
mistreated.
if we want to get to each individual case.
And for you to say, let's get back to the prompt.
Pardon. Yeah, the prompt is Trump is authoritarian threat to democracy.
Okay, so Joe Biden pardoned murderers.
That's Joe Biden.
You were okay with that?
He removed people.
He doesn't even get to respond to the fucking murderous thing.
Love that road, which is different.
You've been voted out
Yeah, he just commuted people's death sentences.
by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Nice to meet you.
Dude, I like. Yeah, I got an issue with Jubilee shit. I mean, I think Luke did a decent job, but like the fact that he can't even we focused way more on like 3 people who were charged in January 6th or whatever, and Ashley Babbitt who were shot, and not any of the actions Trump did. Oh my God, kill me.
Hello. Hi. I'm John. John, nice to meet you. It's like a handshake. Luke is my name.
Luke. I'm sorry.
So what do you think of that? Where do you disagree?
Several places. First off, you're saying that Trump is a threat to democracy. Yeah. Do me a favor and define that better for me.
Yeah, I think if you don't respect key democratic principles, like so we don't get caught up, I'd love to, but on January 6th the entire time, we could shift to him threatening media companies, which is not in the interest of, I think if you're doing things against like the First Amendment, that wouldn't be very in the interest of our democratic process. And so lately, I'm sure you kept up with his FCC investigating and threatening media.
Okay, what are we gonna get? Are we gonna get Joe Biden YouTube letter, social media, something? Are we gonna get Hunter Biden laptop stuff? Or are we gonna get? Ooh, what else could we get? I don't know. We could just get some total pivot back to maybe the lawfare against Trump.
The outlets that say stuff that Trump doesn't like. Trump recently said that protesters, literally who screamed at him at a restaurant, should have RICO cases brought against them. I'm sure people are rolling their eyes because they don't believe that's true. You can find the clip. That's completely disconnected from what we should hold dear as Americans now.
Here's what I think about it. I think that the fundamental, the bedrock of our democracy is civil discourse.
Yeah,
don't you agree?
Totally.
Okay, so when you speak over the...
Dude, there's no way. Tomorrow and Christmas, can't wait. All in Twitter files.
Last speaker, you're getting rid of civil discourse. You're turning a dialogue into a monologue.
No, I think it's just heated civil discourse.
It's heated civil discourse that you can explain away, but doesn't get anything done. I'm here to understand you and be understood by you, and when only you speak, we're not getting anything done.
I'll just warn everyone, if anyone doesn't even...
Is this Glenn Lowry? I have no clue who that is. It could be. I don't know. Don't think so.
and try to acknowledge or respond to the points that I'm bringing up, to the claim I'm bringing up, then I'm going to have to stop you because we have limited time. I don't want you to just say a bunch of random stuff. I get just like there, you brought up me interrupting when I'm talking about the president's doing. Me interrupting the last individual is a lot less consequential than Trump threatening media outlets who say things he doesn't like.
It's fundamental to our democracy.
But can you address that part? Because we're talking about Trump.
I'm talking about how we even get to a presidential.
There's no way none of the participants are going to engage with the prompt, right?
Election.
Okay.
We have to be able to talk to each other.
I agree. We're doing
We
it
have
now.
to be able to listen to each other.
Yeah.
We will never know if she was going to get to her point or not because you didn't let her.
Well, sometimes if you take too long to get to a destination, I'm going to give up on it.
Okay, then I'll go to my next point. You say that Trump is a threat to democracy. The military works for him.
Cool.
If he wanted to, he could still be in the White House from the first presidency battle.
Yeah, it's true. If Trump was a threat to democracy, he'd do a military coup. Yes, let's go. Yeah, it does kind of look like that, easy money, but I don't know who he is, so.
With those who would follow illegal orders. And I'll bet there's a bunch of them. But didn't happen.
Wait.
He didn't even give an order because he was willing to leave the White House when he was told.
What about like the order he gave to his DOJ head to send out a letter claiming that they had found evidence of election fraud when they hadn't? And when he refused, he threatened to fire them and replace them with an acting attorney general who would send out the letter. What about like that order? Is that a bad order?
After he assembled fraudulent electors.
And order, like, he doesn't have like actual direct control over Mike Pence's decision on this, but he wanted Mike Pence to, not certify the vote.
to try to stay in power, after he tried to pressure local election officials to defraud their voters, after he riled up a mob that attacked the Capitol to try to prevent the certification, and then after all of those legal schemes failed, he ended up leaving because everything ran out. And that's like someone who attempted to murder someone, you saying it's not bad because they weren't able to do it.
And after all that, the system worked. The system prevented somebody from being that bad.
Yes, the guardrails hit. Yes, yes. He's not a threat to democracy because the guardrails, bro. The system. Yes.
Not make him bad for just like an attempted crime.
I think he did what anybody would want to do, and that is bring the power. Yes, it's just like.
Why did no other president deny the peaceful transfer of power like him?
Why?
Oh no, are we gonna say Nixon?
Why did Al Gore take the hanging Chad situation all the way to
Bro, we're gonna do what? We're not even doing Nixon. We're doing Al Gore. We're doing Al Gore memes. Al Gore, who conceded before the safe harbor date of the ECA, even in a case of legitimate, not even fraud. He never even claimed fraud, right? It's just legitimate issues with the hanging chads and the vote counting. Al Gore, who probably did actually win the election as well.
Did Trump ever concede the 2020 election? Did Trump ever concede like Al Gore did?
Al Gore.
That's an important question.
I don't think so.
No, he didn't. And that's bad, right?
Al Gore.
Actually, I think we got into a really important place here.
And now you're talking over me.
Well, because you're bringing up Al Gore. Al Gore did the thing that Trump never did, and that's my problem. And you don't respect democracy if you don't concede elections.
Reason Trump's civil discourse. No pun intended.
Al Gore conceded before the safe harbor date of the ECA, like December 14th or whatever, I believe. And Al Gore never lied about election fraud. And Al Gore, there's a decent case to be made, probably did actually win Florida. I don't know if there's a consensus there, but my understanding is Al Gore probably did win Florida, right? Am I wrong on that?
That one?
Your reason for talking over me, Trump's civil discourse. Now I do intend the pun.
I think Trump attacking media outlets, staying in power, or trying to stay in power illegally after losing election fair and square is much more dangerous than me speaking over you.
Do you really do?
Al Gore did not win in Florida? I mean, not all of them were recounted, right? So the argument I've heard is if all of them were recounted in time, he would have won Florida. But there were some counties that didn't do recounts in time or whatever. And some counties just didn't do recounts at all, I think. But I've heard people argue before that, bro, you could tell that shit looks good in you. I did. I bought this at Walmart. I saw this at Walmart. And I was like, this is a nice little fall vibe little collared button-up shirt thing. It is goated. I appreciate it, Kyle. Thanks for noticing. You're goated. Oops, that's my fucking Queenman meme thing. Thought there was more evidence today to show that he did and he didn't. Yeah, that's my understanding, but I could be wrong. I don't think there's a definitive answer consensus there, but I believe there are definitely legitimate people, legitimate arguments that he did win. But yeah, again, he conceded before the safe harbor day. Yeah, December 13th, Gore conceded the election in a nationally televised address. This is the ECA has a safe harbor date, which is states. Why do you have a Queenman meme thing? But because Queenman, one of his, it was a bit I did because Queenman has reacted to some shit before, and I think one of his fans is the one that really wanted the fucking non-Fon v North debate or whatever, because Queenman has looked at North shit too, and he compared the two of us. So when we did a debate, I had the little Queenman bit thing set up because I'm a funny dude like that, and I just didn't delete it. But regardless, again, before the safe harbor date, December 14th, I believe, where the ECA says states should have their electors certified and sent by. I don't know where I'd find it, but there are definitely people who argue that Al Gore won in Florida. But I don't know.
Been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thank you.
I think I remember Climate Town talking about. I think the thing I'm thinking of is Climate Town citing a paper arguing that he won. Yeah, how to steal a
Every
which
4
I don't know,
years,
maybe this is some slop thing or whatever, but That might be this. The 2000 election was the most controversial U.S. election in history, mainly due to disputed outcome of the election in Florida. Elsewhere, H.C. Richard Smith analyzes the high vote for Pat Bookman in Palm Beach County. As the background for this article, we summarize this and other related voting-related issues that may have affected the outcome of the Florida election. Under account, blah, 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 blah. Might not be that. Or might be that, but yeah, I'd have to dig fucking through this shit. But I believe there are at least serious arguments that Al Gore like probably did win the popular vote in Florida. Certainly much more plausible that Al Gore won the vote in Florida than it is that Trump won in 2020.
All right. Luke, Shane.
Shane, nice to meet you, Shane. Another good handshake.
Yes, thank you. So we'll try not to talk over each other because I've got 3 Gen Z kids. Okay. So I want to hear what you're saying. I think part of the problem is we don't allow dialogue and we don't handle it correctly. We can't repay.
Wow, brave dude.
But the question is, Trump is a threat to democracy, correct?
Yeah.
Number one, you mentioned because of the election he wouldn't concede to.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, Al Gore challenged it. Hillary challenged it in 2016.
Both conceded.
But your position is...
No, Hillary did what? There wasn't a single, I don't even know, I think what he's talking about is that there were some representatives, none of which had a senator signed on to object to it, that there were some House representatives that objected to certifying the vote because of the Russian interference stuff. And one, again, Russia did actually interfere in the 2016 election. It's not the case that any of the claims Trump made were true remotely at all. Secondly, none of them had a senator signed on. Thirdly, Hillary Clinton did not incite a riot on the fucking Capitol and then call senators and representatives while the riot was going on to try to pressure them into not certifying a vote. Trump literally did that. Trump and Giuliani were in his office calling people during the riot, trying to get them on board with his fuck-ass plan. Like,
he didn't concede, he fought it. And I think what we need to do also on your side is you got to get all the facts because there are so many shenanigans and things going on. And actually, Trump supporter, I'm a policy supporter. So I look at not the person, but the policies they support.
The policy guy, is he? Yeah. Real big policy wonk we got here.
So, yeah, he didn't concede in that way, but there was so much with the voting, the Dominion system. And so that's why I'm
trying to listen, but
okay,
where, let's say Kamala Harris, there are liberal voters who think Kamala Harris, there were all these fraudulent things.
Right.
And I say, hey, until that's been demonstrated in a court of law, you can't run with conspiracies. You can't say that Trump is an illegitimate president this go around because of their theories about Kamala's election. Would it be correct for her to just start trying to, like they tried to get Pence to do when she was vice president and she deployed the ideology that Trump was pushing, which is that she could have blocked the certification to keep Biden in power or try to elect herself with the certification? That would have been insane, all because of theories that she had. I don't care if you felt like there were shenanigans, if you saw things on social media, it was never demonstrated in a court of law. And now Trump's the president, and he can't find such evidence.
So my point back to that would be he eventually conceded by how he handled everything. No, I don't agree with how he handled everything.
He still has not conceded. What do you mean?
Because he stepped down, and then you said
that's the same thing.
No, why? He still says he won the 2020 election. What do you mean?
Okay. Well, and then also the second thing, if I'm not mistaken, is he is going after people.
Media.
If we had time and we talked about how many people went after him incorrectly from Russiagate to
true, yes.
This making up of this lies, this topic, you know,
I don't. Let's say, even though I would obviously disagree on every single one of the examples you would cite, that those things happened, you would say they're wrong. How does that justify Trump then going after ABC or something? That doesn't make any sense.
When Jimmy Kimmel says what he said, right, and that is just totally demeaning, lying, and so obviously these people have to be held accountable.
But like CBS, he was blocking a merger from going through, using his government authority to prevent a business deal from going through, to force them into making the settlement.
It's so annoying. It's so annoying. Like, no, because their time is limited and because you can be voted out if he is doing poorly and stuff too, which I understand up on that format. It's fine, but like, it's like you can just lie about like Trump being targeted by a bunch of lawfare shit, and then like we can't even get into the details of the Jimmy Kimmel shit because that's just going to be a train wreck. Nothing productive is going to happen, so we have to talk about like CBS and stuff. It's like it's so annoying. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. It's so annoying.
But I don't think
that's insane.
But your question is, he's a threat to democracy. Actually, America isn't a real democracy; it's a republic.
Democratic republic.
Right. So we put people in positions of leadership who will...
A republic is a democratic system of government, guys.
Based on who we elect into the office. So I don't see he's a threat to that. I think he's trying to protect that. He's allowing the people to have a voice because remember the role of government.
He's trying to protect it by
the democracy. Yeah.
These look like Gen Xers. They do write Trump way harder. I mean, they do look relatively young. Dude, that one dude said he was on Social Security, and he like did not look like a Social Security age. He looked under 65 for sure.
Principles.
But for example, what democratic principle is he undermining?
Yeah, a key democratic principle is open, like we're doing here, free discourse. And whenever you start bringing these punitive lawsuits and then hurt them with your government power to force them into settlements.
Okay, that's one example of many different things.
When he's saying he wants protesters who shouted at him in a restaurant.
Yes, it's one example of many different things. Trump has done many authoritarian things.
to be having RICO cases brought against them, criminal cases for shouting. That's not American. That's not in the interest of a democratic discourse, and I think we agree on that.
Yeah, again, I'm not promoting everything he does. I'm just saying your claim was he's a threat against a genuine democracy.
Well, and I do think whenever he was illegally trying to stay in power, like with the fraudulent slate of electors, that's trying to. It's fine for him to bring court cases, like he did. But then after those failed, he stepped outside of our legal process and kept trying to prevent, like getting pins.
Dude, he's again. Yeah, it's like Al Gore conceded before the safe harbor date.
Reject
oh yeah, I know.
Insane.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Good job, Luke. Thank you. Have a good.
Hi,
Hello.
my name is Shiva.
Hi, Shiva.
And it's Luke, right?
Yes.
Which I love that it's biblical.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful name.
Thank you.
Beautiful man.
Well, you're beautiful.
Oh, thank you. My argument is that, number one, we are not a democracy. I know that you guys say a democratic republic. First off, we're a constitutional republic. I mean, when we do...
Like, bro. Oh, we got the fact check here at least. The United States is a democratic republic. The people elect representatives who make laws on their behalf, rather than direct democracy. Wow, thanks, Jubilee. We did it.
Well, you do the Pledge of Allegiance. What does it say? And
a
to
republic?
I didn't consider that one. I've changed my opinion. Guys, Trump is not a threat to democracy anymore because we're actually a republic and not a democracy at all, because in the Pledge of Allegiance, we say one republic.
And to the
republic.
And what does it say? And what is it?
Wait, what is republic?
It's a balance of power. So of the three branches.
Who places people into power?
Well,
And by the way, don't you think that Trump is trying to get rid of some of those? Check him out. It doesn't seem like he's trying to kind of usurp the power of the purse that Congress had by, spending and not spending money, sort of unilaterally without going through Congress, imposing taxes without going through Congress with his tariffs, like how many emergency doctrines has he invoked to do with the tariffs and the deportations and all this shit without having to go through Congress, bro? How many rulings has he to put a chairly stress test from the judiciary? Like, we got to do something about education system that's getting out of hand. There's no, I don't like. I'm doom pilled. I'm black pilled. It's over.
Well, the people do, but we don't even. But again, we have an electoral college vote.
Yes,
we don't even go by the popular vote. But
he's a threat to our republic, but by the way, republic is a
constitutional
republic.
This is where this is the first lie. So there's even a lie in the question. That's why it's hard for me to argue a lie in the question.
After this is over, and what you're saying is incorrect, because we live in a democratic system, and that system is a representative.
Well, it's not even democratic when you've got all these liberal states that don't allow us to present an ID to vote. Kamala.
Okay.
Harris won.
Kamala, you have to know the pronunciation.
I'll say I'll call her what I want to call her. Okay. She only won in states where there's no voter ID laws. Okay. How is it a democracy?
Bro, that's not true. There's no way that's true.
See, when you didn't even get to pick your presidential candidate, how is that a democracy?
We did. There were primaries.
No, there wasn't.
And then,
no, they installed her.
The parties
they installed her.
The parties are an organization.
Why are we even engaging with it? Why are we even engaging with this, bro? What the Democratic Party is a private organization. It's not like, even if you want to consider it a threat to democracy, it's just like so substantially less a threat than Trump that we should, like, who the fuck even cares?
And then they can choose their candidate. I disagree. I would love to make sure every single Democratic primary is very, very democratic, but I would love to focus, because that's a whole other interesting topic. You said your point. Do you have a defense of? I guess you're saying do you not care because you don't think we live in a democracy? That would be strange to me.
No, we're in a constitutional republic, because it's not the 51% that tells the 49% what to do. That's mob rule.
Go later.
And look, if the mob wants to kill this person, innocent person, they would die in a democracy.
Wow. Yes.
And we don't want that.
We have a representative republic governed by the Constitution, which is a democratic system.
But we're not even equal branches of government, even that's another
whatever you feel, are you okay with what I've been bringing up before, him ignoring due process?
No, he's not. Okay, I have 4 friends that were locked up. Let me finish.
Oh, gosh.
So the 4 friends. Now,
I have 4 friends who were locked up on January 6th. Say it, please. Give it to me.
One of them.
Yeah, I'm not going to that.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Someone who violently assaulted a police officer
was breaking the window of the Capitol, and that was an
yes.
Did the fake media show that? No, my friend was the one, Ed, reached up and pulled.
Damn, I've been missing out. Yeah, what's up, Michael? Nice to see you here. You missed me responding to Ryan a bit, I guess, and you were in his chat, so maybe you want to go back and watch that, and then you missed the economics portion of this. I just want to game it myself right now, though. Do you war with any leftists who were like anti Dan Biden Harris? Yeah, I've talked to a few of them. Yeah, I found the whole Live and Laird scene interesting, particularly with Hutch. Well, yeah, so Hutch taking more leftists instead of MAGA, which seems to be stark contrast to the rest of the group. I don't think I talked to more. I'm not talking to more leftists about that rather than MAGA. Like, more recently, it's been obviously talking to more left-leaning people about, like, not voting for Harris and stuff, but just about capitalism and socialism, basically. But it, I don't talk to more left-wing people about voting for Harris than over just like talking to MAGA about stupid shit Trump does.
The guy out of the Capitol.
Which, by the way, I think Wednesday. What day is today? Even Sunday? I think Wednesday I have a debate about some of the I think technically the prompt is just gunboat diplomacy. But just some of the foreign policy shit Trump has been doing, the aggressive shit, which we'll see. It'll be maybe fun. That'll be with mostly MAGA people, so we'll see.
Guess which one went to jail? Let's say they're Antifa. So, then why did Trump pardon Antifa?
No, they didn't pardon Antifa.
Who were the people violently assaulting police officers then?
No, there was one guy. There was one guy that got a taser, and I was not okay with that.
What about beating people with flagpoles? What about stomping on a police officer's head?
Oh, I never saw that.
Oh, really?
Okay?
Dempsey, David Nicholas Dempsey.
I never saw that.
I never saw it.
What?
So I never saw that. I saw 4 people that died that day, and they were patriots. And no media said that was true.
It is not in the interest of democracy for violence to be how we go about. The reason I'm opposed to people trying to assassinate Trump, the guy who assassinated Trump,
I'm against violence
is against our peaceful democratic process. So is giving a reward to people, honoring people in a sense, by pardoning them specifically. Then we
they didn't get due process.
BLM. Say it. BLM. I find if I go back, I'm going to be grumpy. I mean, you're going to see me defend utilitarianism, and I know you don't like that, right? So I don't think you're going to be that grumpy. I don't know.
They were locked up.
I'm just telling you what you missed in case you want to, but.
No, I'm not going to go by the fake media that is lying to us over and over.
What about the video of someone boom, boom, boom onto a police officer's head?
And I don't know who that was, but it probably was an Antifa member because those people admitted that. They were paid to do that.
Wait,
okay? I know. I ran a rally in Beverly Hills, and I had a detective that was watching over me. He gave me a picture of Antifa.
I agree with Luke here. This is my sentiment too. My honest reaction when someone tells me it was Antifa beating up the Capitol Police on January 6th.
Watching over me. He gave me a picture of Antifa saying that they're going to look like us. And you know what? I posted it on Facebook, and they said it was misinformation when I got it directly from the Beverly Hills police station.
Just focus.
No, you don't tell me what to see. People like you like to control people. Like,
oh my gosh.
Kill me. I don't know, just like utilitarianism, I just see this lacking in the same way a pure deontology is, but yeah. Okay.
Majority, please return to your seat.
Nice meeting you.
You're doing a Mark Brown.
Mark. It's a nice voice.
Yeah, it's useful. Maybe it'll be useful today.
Yeah.
In this kind of debate where we respect each other and everything. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Anyway, my point about Trump being a threat to the democracy is that when Trump lost the election, even though he thought that there was voter fraud and had what he considered evidence of voter fraud and tampering and all that.
What he considered evidence. Everyone fucking around him that he trusted initially to find voter fraud, then I'll find it. Even like Mike Pence, they all told him there was no voter fraud. Like, kill me. It was only like the insane crackpot people who kept lying about voter fraud. And also, it's likely that Trump didn't even actually believe there was voter fraud, or at least not outcome determinative voter fraud, because we have the quote from him. Jack Smith, his case didn't actually get to trial, but regardless, like Jack Smith has, he said he had witnesses that were going to testify to Trump saying that, whether you win or lose, you have to fight, right? Like, so Trump did not even think there was election fraud. Obviously, there were multiple cases where Trump was specifically told a claim was false, like about, for example, the OAN video of the ballots in Georgia, and then Trump went on to repeat those very same claims. Is this a bearish sign for multiculturalism? Oh, it's my reason for voting Trump. In brief, for the following: Trump takes it over. I mean, I'm familiar with Avi's position. I don't really know why it would necessarily be a bearish thing for multiculturalism. The approach to Trump takes student engagement in terrorism, while far from perfect, its orders of magnitude more favorable in my view, to the point where I would even be concerned with terrorism as an existential threat to long-term survival civilization if we engage the way them generally do. 2, pro-sentience concerns related to abortion policy. 3, domestic policy as it relates to anti-Semitism and anti-Zionist discrimination and hate crimes. 4, foreign policy as it relates to 3, Israel. 5, in addition to 3, concerns as they relate to institutionalized hatred against Jews and academia. Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with Avi's position. I don't see why it's a bearish time for multiculturalism.
He still left office. He left the office, and when he left the office, his own actions demonstrate that he will not defy the election results. So he did.
What did he try to do before he left office? What did he ask Mike Pence to do? Why are people there on January 6th? What about any of his actions now?
willingly leave office. An insurrection is when you go to overthrow an elected official in office, such as a president, like when they overthrow people in other countries, to get rid of dictators. You agree, right?
Do you know what the fake elector scheme was?
Yeah, I know of it, yeah.
So after he lost his court cases, then he tried to get people who weren't the lawful elected electors to fraudulently claim themselves to be, so that Mike Pence could pretend those were the real ones, and then he could stay in power. It is true that he ultimately left office. People were talking about, is Secret Service going to have to rip him out? Is the military going to...
Because all those reasons are basically Israel having a substantial portion of your population voting off another country. It's not a healthy sign for democracy. Oh, well, I don't think Avi represents anywhere close to the substantial portion of population. I would not be like, Avi's a smart dude. He has like nuanced reasons for things, even if I think it's a little silly to essentially a big reason. Obviously his two concerns are Israel and pro-sentience concerns. I think it's a little silly to vote for Trump based off that, but regardless, I think Avi's reasoning is way more sophisticated than the median American. I don't think that I should be concerned about multiculturalism for that. Enough on rip. No, what? Did Jubilee get me? No, fuck.